Well, good morning, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Thank you for being here on a Valentine's Day. I would say that love is in the air this morning, but I'm so mad at my friends here, Paul Reindl and Ben Higgins, that I can barely see straight right now. Good morning.
Good morning.
Woodsy.
Good morning to you, too.
That's Paul Reindl, the
That's
executive,
how you start this
the
show?
executive producer and backstabber. And then to my left, the other backstabber, egomaniac Ben Higgins
I have
joins
no
us.
idea what
well,
you're talking
I'll tell you.
You're the
No
backstabber.
That is the rumor, Paulie, that I am the backstabber. But I'm not. I had a dream last night, and I woke up this morning fit to be tied at both of you. I woke up, and I had here's the dream that I had, and it was so real that I actually woke up, and I was furious. But
it was your dream. We didn't actually take part in it.
Correct.
Okay.
I quit the show. I'm not saying I quit the show, but in the dream, I quit the show. I moved to Chicago. The three of us did something where we were all in jail together. And the jail we were in was more like a big apartment building. We all had our own rooms, but we were in the common area.
Doesn't sound that bad.
It actually wasn't. The rooms, I had my roommate, he had like long white hair and he smoked cigarettes. That's all I remember about my roommate. But I ran into you guys in the common area. Now remember, I have quit the show and I moved to Chicago. I don't know where exactly our jail was.
Were we still doing the show, though, in jail?
Well,
No.
you guys were there. We were serving our time. We were going to get out. You were getting out a little bit earlier.
Oh, good.
But I came to
Good
you.
behavior.
I came to you guys and I said to you, I go, hey man, I made a mistake leaving the show and moving to Chicago. I want to come back. And you said, no. And I go, well, that's fine. Paulie and I will go do our own show. And Paulie goes, no, I'm with him. And I was like, you sons of bitches. Like, are you kidding me?
But you left us first.
And I said, I built this show. And Ben said, I built this show.
Oh.
And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, Paulie, you chose Ben? I woke up this morning. I was like, whew. I was like, what happened? What happened? It was the craziest dream, and it was so realistic. I remember where you were sitting, and you kind of lean back in your chair, and you go, no, you can't come back. How are you going to tell me I can't come back to my own show?
You made your choice.
You guys booted me? I quit.
booted
But
yourself.
you wouldn't
quit.
let me back?
You quit.
Oh, my
There are consequences
God.
to your choices, Woods.
I'm telling you, dude, I woke up this morning, I was like, I don't even want to see those guys. I do not even want to see their faces. Why can't I get my camera to work? I was like, I don't even want to see them this morning. So that's how I started my day. And, I obviously yesterday felt like death all day. I woke up at midnight. Today it was a little better. I woke up at 1:30 and tossed and turned until 4:30. But, we're making progress.
Thanks for that. You have passed it on to me as well.
I didn't pass anything on to you.
I think
This
you might have.
Why don't
is,
you guys stay on that side of the studio?
I mean, I'm
Stay
telling
away
you.
from me.
Yes, Alex says Ben and Paul kind of has a nice ring to it. See, this is where it starts. They're going to ice me out. It's going to be wall-to-wall Aztecs talk, which today wouldn't be a bad idea. I was very surprised when I woke up this morning. We will get into that certainly at some point in the program this morning. But I think it's imperative that we start with our beloved Benjamin's meal last night, because I was driving to work thinking about, this is what I really want to talk about. You went to a very, very fancy dinner, perhaps the fanciest you've ever been to?
I've never been to a Michelin star restaurant. I mean, it wasn't, silver, white tablecloth. It was a little more, it's right on the water. It was Valle in Oceanside, and the food was what you'd expect, little tiny bites of gourmet Mexican food, Mexican wine country cuisine.
Well, I think I realized what we were doing time for. Plugola. I think we were all in jail for Ben's Plugola. We were probably serving a 6-month sentence for Plugola. Now that I think about
Sounds
it, but
about right.
tell me more about Valle and the dinner.
Let me start with
Simply the best.
Let me start with a little debate, and you tell me if this was something that I should have complained about. Okay. Both Shelley and I were feeling a little under the weather, and I called and said, it might be better if we do this another day. Can we reschedule our dinner? Just when we're feeling, you probably don't want us here, we're a little under. And they said, no, you've prepaid, and either you come or you lose your entire meal. Like, the whole thing was paid for in advance, close to like $400. So it was nice, expensive dinner, and they said, you lose it if you don't show up. I said, okay, we'll be there then.
If you don't use it, you
lose
do,
it.
in fact,
Yes.
lose it.
And I
Holy
thought that
smokes.
was, I understand that restaurants can't just, willy-nilly change reservations all over the place, but if people are really under the weather, you don't want those people in your restaurant, right? And
Apparently you do.
We went early at 4:30, so it wasn't even that busy. We would have come at another time, so I thought they should have let us come at another day. Now we went and we had a very good meal. It was we started. They brought these little tiny bites, botanas. There was a soup, a chicharrones soup with cotija cheese foam.
Now, chicharrones are
Pork rinds.
Pork rinds, okay?
And it tasted kind of like a pork soup with a cotija cheese foam on it.
Pork,
there was a
pork soup.
There was a little it was almost like a homemade Frito stuffed with like a ceviche fish thing. And
Okay,
then
that sounds pretty good.
it was pretty good, yeah. And
I'm
then
guessing it was labeled something different on the menu than a
Frito.
Frito-like
Yeah, I know,
fish thing.
I'm sure they had a name for it. And then there was a mushroom little appetizer. So those three. And then they brought the charred onion tart, which was a celebration of the color black. And I posted a picture of this yesterday. It was basically caramelized onions that were so dark, and they added squid ink to make it completely black. The pie crust, the tart crust, had squid ink and onion ash in it to make it completely black, and then there was some caviar on top of that. That was Shelley's favorite thing. She loved that onion tart. And then there was
I'm looking at a picture of it.
Yeah.
Looks like something you forgot in the oven, if I'm being
It looks
honest
disgusting.
with you. It looks
I'm
like,
sure it tasted better than it looks.
God, I let the tart in for too long.
It's a
Just eat it.
celebration of the color black
Okay, yeah, great. It's black, but
on a black plate.
with squid ink.
Yes.
Does that taste like anything?
You don't taste
you don't
it at
really
all.
taste
You don't.
the squid ink. It just makes things
I've
dark
had
and black.
pasta with squid ink, and it's
Black pasta. Yeah. And then I thought my favorite thing, they had a little sope with it was almost like a carnitas on top of it that was really, really good.
What is that?
A sope is like they called it a chancla. It's basically like a masa, like a little, it's like a taco, but it's not folded. It's just flat and with stuff on top of it
Okay.
as opposed to folded inside of it. And that
Like
was
a
delicious.
tostada.
Yeah, a little bit like a tostada.
Just
but
call
not,
it a tostada.
Not crispy. It's the bottom's soft, more soft. Yeah. And then the main course, I had the conejo, which was the rabbit.
You
And
did.
Shelley upgraded to the
son
Wagyu
of a-
beef because she did not want to eat rabbit.
I drove home yesterday and I saw a rabbit smashed on the side of the road, and I thought to myself, well, there's Ben's dinner tonight. You actually ate a sweet little innocent
No,
rabbit.
this was the evil
one.
bad rabbit.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
maybe
deserved
a
it.
rabid rabbit.
Yeah, they
perhaps.
deserved it, I'm sure.
I'm
And
sure
it was
they did.
It was very good. And then they brought a couple of desserts, like a buñuelo with a nougat ice cream.
You're talking in these words like I know. Oh,
you
a
know
buñuelo.
buñuelos. Those are like the crispy cinnamon,
Yeah,
but
moron.
very fancy, like cinnamon chip thing.
I
You've
just
had
call them
buñuelos.
cinnamon chips.
Yeah, buñuelos.
like the Taco Bell ones.
Yeah, and a little lemon cream tart was very good too. They brought that for our anniversary and gave us a little glass of champagne at the end.
So
It was
did
very
you get what meal did you get on the drive home? Because I know you weren't full.
Shelley would eat about half of hers each course, so I got
power
to
move.
finish. Yeah, I got to finish all of her courses, so I had plenty.
My wife always asks me, why do you insist on ordering the kids a full meal when we go places or when you order in from DoorDash? I go, well, obviously, so I can pilfer. So I get like a meal and a half, sometimes 2 meals. I'm paying for all these, and when we went to Benihana, I got them both full meals, and I ate 80% of Bo's meal. It was fantastic.
I hate food going to
Well,
waste.
I don't
so-
really. The food going to waste thing isn't really it. It's also like this is good stuff.
Yeah.
Like I get my meal,
good stuff going to waste.
and then I look at Bo's. I'm like, there's like 4 chicken tenders he didn't eat with some mac and cheese. I'll go ahead and house that, and I'll be feeling great. How'd you gain all the weight? By eating off of 3 other people's plates at dinner. Well, I'm glad you guys had a good time. It looked, for me, it's a little. What's the word
it's
I'm
bougie.
looking for? It's
I get
bougie.
It. I
It's-
get it. It's bougie.
Is it ostentatious?
yes, a
It
little
is.
bit for sure. But doesn't everyone like every once in a while want to do something like that?
No question. No question. Like
I love going out to a nice fancy restaurant, getting a good steak.
But we
or
don't know.
something.
That's not fancy to him.
Right.
What we do isn't fancy. Like we were like, ooh, give us the we'll do the the corn creme brulee. That's like as fancy as I'll go. And Ben's like, bro, I put that in my kids' lunches.
There's like tiers of fancy.
There's tiers of fancy.
And
That's
when you
a
get
level.
to the stage where, you get the tiny portions and it looks very appealing, but you're like, that's 2 bites.
That tart domed me out.
I think part of it is, they have to do something interesting and different to stand out from the crowd, to get recognition. Very few restaurants in America get, even a single Michelin star. And I think there's only a handful of 3-star restaurants in the entire country.
I mean, it sounds good when you say it. Like, that sounds cool. Like, I wish Ben & Woods had a Michelin star. Like, that would be sick. Like, that sounds like us? Oh, yeah, we're a Michelin star restaurant.
And,
or
we all
show.
watch The Bear, which is a great show. And it's, it's about a chef who's opening a restaurant. He wants to get a Michelin star at his restaurant. And everything that goes into it, like the service was impeccable, understated, just anything you needed, very quietly, just came. Little extras that, were not part of the menu, but they'd bring just like Grandma Abuelita's bread, fresh bread recipe. This is the chef's grandmother's recipe of bread. Like this nice, wheat dark roll was delicious.
Okay.
With a garlic butter. Very nice.
I just would feel, for me, I'm probably a little bit out of place there, and I really wouldn't know what to order. And I think that I would be like, ooh, I think I'm too picky because all the stuff you mentioned,
burger.
like do you guys have chicken tenders here, mac and cheese? I'm just very basic with my food, and our buddy Ryan Gilbert,
it
who's
definitely
a chef,
all looks weird, but it tastes good. If you can get over okay, I mean, this is not something I normally eat how it looks, but the taste is delicious. I think you'd like it.
Well, our buddy Ryan Gilbert, who's a tier 1, and he was a chef at Polo, and Hannah took me for my birthday, and he did the thing, which was really cool. I felt like a king when he's like, you sit, I'm going to make a bunch of stuff, and you're going to eat it. And I had escargot for the first time, and I was like, all right, I kind of get it. It was good. I mean, it tasted a little bit like dirt, but that's not from him. That's just how it's like buttery dirt.
Earthiness.
Earthy, dirty butter. Yeah, but I was like, I'll eat it. And he made all kinds of cool stuff. So there is something to that feeling of having somebody, hook you up.
Yeah,
and
it's not for everybody, but we wanted to do something special.
Well, I'm glad you did. No, I'm not knocking the experience. Certainly. For me, I would just be a little parent because I'm not going to eat caviar. It's very salty, right?
I didn't notice, I was expecting it to be a little brinier. It was a very mild flavored caviar on top of it. You spread it around on top of the tart. And
I remember I had steak tartare one time, and I was very reluctant to eat it, and I had it at Cowboy Star. Somebody ordered it, and I was like, oh, man, this is like as fancy as I'll go. And I loved it. I was like shoveling in raw meat.
Raw meat.
Yeah, delicious.
Scary.
Absolutely delicious. But, I mean, it would be funny.
Sometimes with a raw egg yolk
on
cracked
top
of
yeah.
it.
It's just like, all right, botulism is amazing. I'm going to get it right now. But it was great. It was fantastic. So, well, I'm glad you guys had a good time. It did look very fancy. You didn't take any other pictures? Just that one?
Just that one.
Just that one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
There was a picture, I think, the way our server took a picture of the two of us as well. I didn't post that one, though.
No food or anything?
No, I didn't take I feel like if you're just sitting there Instagramming and taking pictures of everything, you're not enjoying the full experience.
That's true. It's absolutely true.
I took a picture of the most striking dish, which was that all black charred onion tart.
I'm less likely to take a bunch of pictures and stuff these days. I really have been lately trying to live in the moment a little bit more at kids' birthday parties. What a great pic. Look at that. Yeah, it looks like a very nice place in Oceanside. So check it out, my friends. And let's get into the menu. Speaking of menus, we'll do that next. We have a show today that, well, Ben and I are not feeling 100%. And if we didn't have the show we had planned today may have been a day where we said, we're going to take this one to the house. We're not feeling great.
Couldn't miss this one, though.
This show actually got me out of bed this morning. I'm so excited for all the stuff we have planned. You guys will be, too. Nobody loves a theme show more than Ben and Woods, period. And nobody does a theme show better than Ben and Woods, I'm sorry to say. If you let us toot our own horn for a second, we got some really good surprises for you guys today.
All right, we'll tell you what's coming up. Set the menu. When we come back, there are no charred onion tarts on our menu today. Just should be a good show. We'll be right back after a check traffic with Kelly here. It's Ben and Woods on a Wednesday on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. I think it's fair to say that this is a bit of a special show for us today.
think
Happy
so.
Valentine's Day, everybody. It's Ben and
Happy
Woods
Valentine's Day.
on 97.3 The Fan. Paulie made some personal Valentines for the show last night that he posted on our social media channels. There's one of me. It says, I like Delilah.
It's true.
And there's one with the Woods' picture. It says, I didn't cure this Dupuytren's contracture for nothing.
That's right. Get over here.
There's one with Adam, which is great. It says, it would be extra sweet if you were my Valentine. And then I like...
Is it extra sweet because this is against the Dodgers?
Very romantic.
Very.
Very romantic. And my favorite was Paulie's, which is, I want to DD mega do you.
Which is fantastic.
That was
DD mega doo-doo.
Now, if you had said, I want to DD mega doo-doo you, that would have been,
didn't want
that's
that.
a little bit different. That is you can't go down that road.
But it is going to be a somewhat themed show, as you said, a Valentine's theme. Now, we'll start with our usual Padres talk coming up at the bottom of the hour. A.J. Preller spoke yesterday at the Peoria Sports Complex, as we kind of anticipated, didn't say a ton. I felt very bad for the reporters who had to just stand there. There was one in particular.
He's a superstar. I need to know him. I want him to be my friend.
I assume he might be one of the Korean reporters there covering Hassan Kim. I didn't know him, but he was holding his phone, just waiting. Looked like he wanted to be anywhere other than listening to A.J. Preller talk
and
yesterday.
the thing is I don't know that it was necessarily the content. I think it was the fact that he had to sit and hold his phone up for 15 minutes, which is it's not conducive to comfort at all.
Be surprised how tired your arm gets, even if it's just your phone, holding it straight, like all the way out.
I wouldn't be surprised at all. I'm not going to make it. I couldn't make it for 3 minutes.
You got 5 minutes till the end of the
There's
segment.
I'm already tired. There's no way. There's no way I could do it.
I've had to do that with a microphone during a press conference, and you're dying.
You're
like dying. You start holding your arm,
Yep.
like holding it up, like this is starting to get painful, and they just keep talking, and you can't really extricate yourself because there's a whole scrum around you, so you can't get out. So you just have to hold it the entire time, and he was obviously getting a little fatigued.
I mean, the pictures that went around, it was his eyes like looking up straight at the ceiling, like, oh my God, my arm is going to fall off at any second. Where it was spectacular.
We did get a little more information about the Padres' flexibility, what they have left in terms of payroll, and it is something. I don't think it's a ton, but they have some flexibility going into the season. We'll hear from A.J. Preller coming up. We also heard from Manny Machado yesterday, who was out on the field, and Manny said he's going to take things slowly as he comes back from his tennis elbow surgery. But
He's not. It doesn't look like he is at
He's
all.
already throwing balls across the diamond. I mean, what else is there to do? He's hitting, he's fielding, he's throwing the ball across the diamond. Maybe not at 100% intensity yet, but with still more than a month to go until the opener, it seems more and more likely that Manny's going to be full go by the time they get to the Korea series against the Dodgers.
I sure hope so, and we need him at third base, and that's where he is. He's best suited for this team, and you just feel great when he's out on the field. And you can say anything you want about Manny. There's people that have plenty of negative things to say about Manny Machado, but the guy loves to be on the field, and that's what's really the most important to him. So it's good to see him out there. I loved what he had to say about Peter Seidler as well. Got a little broken up when I was listening to it.
We'll play that for you coming up. At 7 o'clock, we'll get into last night's San Diego State game, which looked like it was going to be a crippling loss at home to Colorado State. They fell behind early, but then the second half, everything turned around, and the Aztecs rolled to a 71-55 win over the Rams to keep pace at the top of the conference standing. So we'll get into some Aztecs basketball. We'll play Take on Woods. Don't do this. At 7:35, Sammy Spring Training will join us from Peoria, Arizona. We'll get another update from Sam Levitt as he covers Padres Spring Training for us. But the second half of the show is where things get a little more interesting and Valentine's themed today, Woods. Now, what are you having me do here at 8 o'clock? I see this Ben Reed's Romance.
Yeah, Ben Reed's Romance.
Don't ask questions.
Don't ask questions. Just
It's right here on my rundown.
Yep, I got it here.
Ben Reed's Romance.
Yeah.
Is this like a racy novel or something?
Maybe.
We'll find out.
Could be Penthouse Letters. You have no idea. Romance.
We will continue. I don't know that I'd be allowed to read Penthouse Letters on the air.
Well, we'll see what happens.
We'd get in trouble for that.
We'll see what happens.
Okay. Our Tier 1 tour continues. We're switching over to the AL East today. The New York Yankees are our first team of our tour of the training camps, and Emily Nyman, the host of the Breaking Balls podcast, covering the New York Yankees, will join us, one of our favorites. It'd be good to catch up with Emily, and obviously they added Juan Soto, and expectations are pretty high for the New York Yankees this year after a not great season for them last year, so see if they can bounce back, and we'll talk to Emily about the Yankees. Got the Reindl Report, and then in our final couple of segments, we have an in-studio guest today. Stephanie Daly is a relationship, dating, well-being blogger, content creator. She's got an incredible following, and she's going to be in to just kind of help our Tier 1s with any relationship advice they need here on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, she's great, man. Really, really good content. Check her out on YouTube. We had some people submit some questions. There's only a couple of you guys are creeps, which was to be expected. But listen, we're going to keep it clean and above board when Stephanie comes in. I want you on your best behavior.
I think it's always,
you've been a little deviant lately.
Getting a female perspective is an important thing.
Very much so.
And we don't.
She's really good. She works with men and women and looks at both sides of relationships. And a lot of her content is like polls. 75% of men admit to doing this on a date. Is this okay? And she gets feedback and talks about it. And it's going to be. She's
a searcher. That's what I like about her. She does not purport to be some sort of expert. In fact, she's kind of like I'm not an expert at all. I'm just very curious about what's going on out there. So she's awesome. Great content. So it's going to be great to have her and get her in studio. It's going to be fun.
So pretty jam-packed show today. That'll take us all the way to 10 o'clock. Annie and Elston at 10 o'clock. Gwen and Chris this afternoon as we continue all of our Padres coverage here on 97.3 The Fan. But we'll start when we come back with the general manager, A.J. Preller, Manny Machado, what went on at the Peoria Sports Complex yesterday. That'll come up next on Ben Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Not a very romantic song. It's So Easy by Guns N' Roses here on Ben and Woods this morning. A little birthday shout out to, I think it's Kikin, Kikin, in the chat. Happy birthday, pal.
Happy birthday.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening.
A Valentine's Day birthday.
Valentine's Day birthday.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
All right. I think as we expected, A.J. Preller said a lot of nothing yesterday. Didn't say a ton, but there were a couple of bites that at least give us a clue as to what he is thinking and the direction that the Padres are headed. We're going to play a little bit of the audio from Peoria yesterday coming up after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Soapy Joe's. It continues to be a pretty quiet one on our roads at this time. Start to see the usual slowing in the usual spots, but at least no incidents or accidents getting in your way. Big news from Soapy Joe's Chief Bubble Officer, Tony Gwynn Jr. Win a $10,000 trip to see your baseball team play across the seas. Play our Soapy Joe's new AR game and win amazing prizes. Visit SoapyJoesCarWash.com for more details. Soapy Joe's is good, clean fun. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
What I'm all about seeing some of these younger prospects get an opportunity and what they can do. It is the best way for the Padres to have sustained success going forward.
Indeed.
But as I said earlier this week, my worry was that because they didn't have any other options, they were going to force guys to play who weren't ready. And that was the question that I wanted to ask of AJ more than any other. What is the plan if Jacob Marcy or Jackson Merrill are not ready to take over a spot in the outfield by opening day?
Right.
I mean, is it just Sugar, Jurickson, and Tatis, and you don't even have any backups in the outfield, and that's it? Are you painting yourself into a corner where you don't have any choice other than to use these prospects? And AJ did address that, and I think to my somewhat relief, he said no, they're not going to force guys to play who aren't ready. Here's what AJ had to say about Merrill and Marcy and their shot to play in the outfield this season.
Yeah, no, I think we're open, in terms of their ability to compete to make the club. I think we're gonna find out more, but I think they put themselves in position, specifically, Jackson's case, last year getting to Double-A, playing well in the Double-A setting. He had a really good off season. And I think with Jacob Marcy, Graham Pauley, those guys, getting to Double-A and then playing in the Fall League. Jacob, being the MVP of the Fall League. The league's designed to speed up the development of some really talented players. We think they're really talented, and we know their work ethic and how hard they work. And I think they're coming here not just for the experience. They're coming here to kind of see where they stack in with our current group and our current club.
So, I think, and AJ did say that, they're not going to be forced to play, though. If they're not ready, they can go back and still spend some more time in the minor leagues if that's ready. He also said something interesting. He said spring training is not necessarily the best place to evaluate whether a guy is ready or not. Spring training is where guys just get ready for the season, where they, put in their work, get back into the groove, and you're not necessarily looking at a batting average or, power numbers in spring training. So he's putting a lot of weight in what he saw in the offseason, in the fall league, the work that the guys have been putting in outside of spring training. So I don't know what that means. If he thinks they're ready, if they don't put up big numbers at spring training, could they still end up on the major league roster on opening day? It sounds like it's possible.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, anything's possible at this point with this squad. And he did talk about the potential of adding more pieces. Yeah.
So
okay.
he was asked how much roster work is left to be done, and how much flexibility does he really have to make moves given the financial constraints for the Padres right now.
We have flexibility. I mean, I think part of that is we've tried to put a lot of time and effort into adding depth and quality to the team and the roster. So there's going to be some fun competitions to watch here in spring training. But again, it's been a later developing market. Really, I think we've had real honest trade conversations that are still ongoing. That usually at this point in the season, most teams are kind of focused on they have their roster getting to spring training, going and playing. We've been pretty active, in terms of there's still obviously some talented free agents that are out there. Obviously, we signed Profar, yesterday, the day before, and there's some active trade conversations. And similar to last year, I think I don't know if we had Michael Wacha at this point in time in the season. So, we're always going to be looking to add and improve. The team that starts right now or starts camp here in the next couple of days, it's it's not going to be the team, that obviously we finished with, and there'll be a lot of different options as we go through the year. And honestly, I think there'll be some options as we go through spring training.
Yeah, I mean, that's somewhat encouraging, I think, just to know. And we knew this. We knew that he wasn't sitting on his hands and not exploring things.
But, I mean, there are active trade conversations going on right now as we speak. There are free agent conversations, and a couple of the names that continue to be banding about in the outfield and the infield. Tommy Pham, Brandon Belt. Did see David Schoenfield said Cody Bellinger, maybe long shot. I think given the financial constraints, I think they'd have to clear some salary somewhere else if they wanted to try to sign Cody Bellinger. But he certainly does solve a lot of issues for the Padres in terms of left-handed guy who can play center field, going to be about as good as you can find on the market, probably the best guy you can find on the market. I don't expect them to go that route, but it at least makes enough sense that people in the national media are not totally discounting AJ from doing something unexpected here.
And it's not just it has been a late developing market. I mean, I don't think that's AJ speak or GM speak. It just has.
This year worse than most.
It feels like it, right? And recency bias is a real thing. And like you said, we didn't have Waka at this time last year. He's pretty good about surprising us at spring training. I think the Luke Voigt deal maybe came the trade, the first time we got Luke Voigt, was he
sign him or do we trade
sign him
for
or trade for him? I can't remember. But I mean, he's always, the Rugi Odor one last year. We're like, what the hell? Why? What do we need him for? We've got a ton of middle infielders, but I don't think it's as dire today as maybe I did a couple of days ago. I would love to see him pull off a big trade. I would love to go see him fleece one of the new GMs in baseball.
I feel like there's almost every spring training, there's been at least one big move. Going back to, I think Craig Kimbrell was like the day before the season started when he acquired him back in his first season back in 2015. So AJ
Talk
usually
about the late market though. Think about a guy like Blake Snell.
Yeah,
and all we know about Blake Snell.
Right, he's got to be dying, man.
Just dying right now.
I'm coming off of Cy Young, knowing you're going to get a bag is a pretty good feeling, but still, as a creature of comfort and habit, it's probably not
sitting there. Right
it's probably not the best position that he wants to be in right now.
And he continues to be linked with the New York Yankees, even though they didn't meet his asking price earlier. That rumor continues to be out there. Feel like Blake, if he had to join Yankees spring training, in progress, that's gonna be tough for him to make that adjustment and get comfortable in a new setting there in Florida.
Well, come on back,
totally
baby.
different
1
spring
year
training.
deal. Let's go. Let's see what happens.
Run it back.
Manny Machado also spoke yesterday. As he's there early. Pitchers and catchers have reported position players don't have to be there until Friday, but a lot of them are already there, including Manny, who is continuing his rehab from his off-season tennis elbow surgery. Doesn't look like he's got many limitations. He said that we're going to take it easy, and in the first few ground balls you saw him, he wasn't actually throwing it across the diamond, but then yesterday afternoon he was making the throw across the diamond from third to first base. There's not much else to do. He's been hitting in the cage for weeks, if not months already. He's taking ground balls, and now he's throwing the ball over to first base. Maybe it's not 100% in terms of intensity, but with more than a month to go until the start of the season, Manny seems very much on track to be the Padres' opening day third baseman.
Just, I love that too. I love the fact that that's important to him to get back on the field and, be our third baseman. I obviously, pray for his health, right? Like him on one ankle, a couple years ago, it's tough. And you want him at 100%. You'd hate for him to go out there and do too much. And, these guys know their bodies after this many years of doing this. And hopefully he puts himself in a position to be ready to go for that Korea series. But if he doesn't, so be it, right? I just want him back healthy 100%.
And Manny was asked about Peter Seidler and kind of, we know that Peter was a big factor in getting Manny signed to that contract extension last year and the passing of Peter Seidler and what Peter has meant to Manny's career.
It's Peter's a person who's an angel right now for us, looking over us right now, and it's obviously a devastating loss that we had. Not just for this organization, but for the city and for his family and for everyone that he's impacted in his life. Peter was a tremendous person who's cared about a lot of people, loved a lot of people, and there's definitely a big impact in this organization where it started to now where we're at now. So he's going to be a person that we deeply missed, and but he's looking over us now, and he wanted us to be great, and we're going to continue to preach his dreams, which is to bring a championship to the city of San Diego, and continue making this city great.
You guys haven't seen him down the stretch of the season. A lot of guys haven't talked to him. Were you surprised when you got the news?
I mean, yeah, obviously. It's you never want to hear news like that. I think at the end of the day, it's devastating news, not just for ourselves, for the city, but for the family as well. I think we lost a great man, and it's just sad that God takes great people, and it just it was a devastating loss.
It's about as emotional as I think I've ever heard,
Sweet
Manny.
angel.
Sweet little angel. And they were very close. Very, very close. And yeah, I mean, that we all know the impact, but for those guys that Peter Seidler helped Manny have the ability to take care of his family for the rest of his life and his family's family for the rest of his life. But they were very tight. Peter was he loved Manny Machado. So yeah, that moved me yesterday a lot.
Do you believe that can have an impact? Win for Peter, bringing together a team, or is that more of a narrative? It really comes down to just guys playing and producing. And,
well, I mean, it's
not an emotional thing. Baseball.
It feels like a Disney movie, certainly. But you certainly can't quantify it. I mean, you certainly can't quantify it. I don't know, man. I do feel that I'm a big believer in people watching over us and things like that. I really am, but I don't know.
I mean, I do know if the Padres have a surprisingly good season and they make a playoff run, there will be a lot said about winning one for Peter and Peter watching over them, and this is a special season, and we know that Peter is a part of this here with us. That will happen. Doesn't mean the Padres are going to have a good season. If they don't, it doesn't mean they didn't care about Peter, right? Like it's that I don't think that necessarily works that way, but I do feel like if just for a little bit it can get everybody on the same page, pulling on the same rope, hey, my stuff isn't quite as big and important. Let's all do something together for this guy who did so much for us. That can have an impact, a positive impact on a team.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, this is a good point Jeff makes. I remember this. The hurricane in Houston, the bombing in Boston, those fans rallied around their cities, won championships after hardship. I mean, remember New Orleans, the Super Bowl? I mean, bro, that was some of the most moving.
But they also had really good teams.
They had really good teams. Yeah, it wasn't a bunch of no, they weren't supposed to win.
The Yankees, 9/11.
9/11.
I mean,
they lost, but they got there. Yeah, I mean, it was. Yeah, there's something to it for sure, and it's going to be interesting to watch. But yeah, it was good to hear him talk about Peter and. You know how close they were, and it's something that's going to hang over this organization for a while. You don't fill those shoes. You know what I mean? Very difficult.
Manny also revealed the due date. He and Yane.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, April. It's going to be early in the season, so Manny's going to be a dad for the first time coming up here in just a couple of months.
Strap in, pal. Strap in. I had yesterday one got new shoes and he refused to take them off even before bath time. And he was melting down because he wanted to wear his brand new light up Spider-Man shoes in the bath. And then the other one asked his pants at the exact same time. So I was in it. Was
there not a logical conversation?
Like
no. If you wear your shoes in the bath,
they're brand new. They're out of
ruin the shoes.
They're out of the box. He didn't care.
You don't want to do that.
3 years old.
You don't want to ruin your shoes.
So I took them off and put them right back on after the bath. Like right back on PJs and running around in shoes. And the other one, had a little accident. I'm like, this is it, man. But yeah, you're about to be in the thick of it, Manny. Right in the middle of the season, too. But that's good. It does give you that dad strength and that dad power. And you're playing for somebody more than yourself, certainly.
Poor Yane. He's got those road trips.
Road trips in April. Holy smokes, man. Yeah. Yeah,
they have a good extended family, though. I think
Yep.
I'm sure they'll have some help, managing through the season.
Uncle Yonder.
Yeah, Uncle Yonder. Time to step up, pal. 100%.
Yeah, we need your help here.
Yep, need your help.
So that was kind of the conversation yesterday at Padres spring training with AJ, saying a little bit, but not a ton, as we'd expect. He's not going to reveal all of his cards. He did also add that they'd like to keep a little flexibility into the season as well. That if things are going well and you get to the trade deadline, you don't want to all of a sudden feel like we can't make a move because we're right up against the luxury tax. You want to keep a little bit of that flexibility going into the season. Although I think the other strategy would be you can go above the luxury tax a little bit, and if things aren't going well, you can trade away someone at the trade deadline and get back under the luxury tax later in the year. So there's two different strategies as they try to kind of reset going this year. Ways you can go about doing it. One is stay under and be ready to add. The other is add a little bit more now, but be ready to pivot if things don't go well later in the season.
Well, and I do believe that, the first half of this season is important for so many reasons. So many. Getting off to a good start this year, exercising some of the demons from last year, Ben, the close games, the extra inning games, the one-run games. We've talked about it till we're blue in the face. This team desperately needs to get out to a good start, establish an identity earlier. But when you're talking about still going out making moves for like a Cody Bellinger, you do have to think about the luxury tax. You do want to be under that luxury tax. If that's important to you, you need to have flexibility. You'd hate to get to July though and just be kind of floundering again. And should we even bother making a move at this point? It's important if you want to make a run this year. You got to get off to a good start.
I didn't realize this, but the Dodgers obviously last year didn't make a lot of moves, and they were trying to reset their luxury tax. They didn't. They actually didn't get there, partly because of the Trevor Bauer money that they still owed. They were unable to reset their luxury tax. So I think that's kind of the worst case scenario where you if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna slash payroll by almost $100 million, don't then still go over the luxury tax by $3 million to continue the penalties, of 4 straight years going over the luxury tax. If you're going to do it now, I think you have to make sure that you actually do it. And that could lead to tough decisions. If the Padres are playing really well and you're going to want to add someone, it's going to be tough because they're going to have to make it work financially later in the season.
I would expect if they're playing well,
you can throw the luxury tax thing out the window
you're like,
and go,
if
we
you're
have
playing,
a chance to win.
Yeah, if you're playing
not worry
well,
about it.
you cannot sell that you can sell to your fan base like a little bit of a reset, a little bit of a reboot. What you can't sell is, hey man, we're playing light. How many teams every year playing lights out at the deadline and they don't do a damn thing? And the Brewers have done, it's happened a bunch, and the fan base loses their minds. For good reason. What are you doing? Guys are playing well. You don't know how many of these chances you're going to get. So it's going to be interesting to see. That's a problem we want the Padres to have come July. We want them to have that problem of, oh God, do we need to now go trade for a frontline starter or a back end of the bullpen guy or a big slugger to take us home? You want them to have that
it is still
problem.
possible they can trade Ha-Seong Kim. We didn't get to that soundbite, but sounds like anything is on the table still with Ha-Seong Kim.
It's crazy.
Trade him, extend him. And
Yeah.
anything remains on the table right now for Ha-Seong Kim. And maybe it's one of those situations where he does start the season with the Padres and if things aren't going well, he ends up being a deadline deal somewhere and they make a trade. If they are going well, maybe they talk about contract extensions and want to make sure that he's here for the long run.
Crazy. It's crazy the amount of shortstops we would have locked up to long-term deals at that point. Plus more shortstops coming up through the pipeline. Nuts.
All right, 1 hour in the books. When we come back, take on Woods, chance to qualify for a trip to Las Vegas, and we'll talk about last night's wild Aztecs game at Viejas Arena. Comeback victory for San Diego State next year on The Fan. So how much of the Aztecs game did either of you watch last night?
I had the
little bit
entire game on. Got distracted a couple of times, but it was on. I was following. It was tough to watch that first half, and then kind of just checking in the second half. I'm like, oh, they're creeping up. Oh, coming back. Oh, wow, they are up by 10.
It's funny because yesterday's game looked like a replay of the game 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
Remember when they went to Colorado State, Fort Collins? They fell behind. I think it was 17-4. Last night, they fell behind 17-3 as Colorado State came out on fire from three-point range.
Again.
Dug themselves a big hole. And then at Colorado State, the Aztecs spent all game fighting their way back, eventually got a 1-point lead in the second half, but then ran out of gas, and Colorado State pulled away for a 79-71 win.
I had my T-ball meeting at 6 o'clock, so right when the game started, checked the score about halfway through the meeting and went, oh, okay, not missing much to this point. Got home, put the game on. Bo was up and like hanging with us, so he was like sleeping with us, and he got restless. So I took him back to his room, and they were getting their doors blown off. It went to halftime,
down 14 at the half.
Yeah, just getting smoked. And I go, and I had money on the game. I was like, oh man, I mean, just not our night, right? Like just not their night at all.
And the Aztecs were favored by 6.
Favored by 6.
Down 14. You're
like,
20 points.
There's no way they covered. No.
In the negative there, but instead they fought their way back, and this time they just kept the afterburners on the entire second half. Had to be one of the best halves of Aztecs basketball and
ever.
Probably worst halves of Colorado State basketball you're ever going to see. The Aztecs outscored the Rams 41-11.
That's
unbelievable.
In the second half. The Rams,
11 points.
The Rams just made 3 baskets, field goals in the second half in 20 minutes.
God.
And
was that a symptom, Benny, of great Aztecs defense? Was that a symptom of poor shooting, or both?
The shooting got worse, but there was undoubtedly more energy from the Aztecs. A lot of block shots. J. Powell had a great defensive second half, coming and blocking shots underneath, and then Colorado State got cold. They had a couple of wide open threes still, and just clanged them in the second half. They could not get anything to go in.
What is with
Colorado State went 1 of 19 for the final 16 minutes of the game I just read.
What is with the dreadfully slow starts?
Well,
is it the starting lineup? Because when he put J. Powell in the starting lineup, it was Air Force, but they got off to that great start, and then then J. Powell missed the flight, so they had to go back to what they were doing, and then J. Powell did not start last night again, right?
He did not start last night. Jaden Ledee, though, picked up 2 quick fouls and did not play for more than half of the first half, and that was important. Reese Waters has also been struggling the last couple of games.
I love it.
When he's not making shots, all of a sudden, things just get kind of difficult for the Aztecs to score points. So I think both of those guys not doing anything in the first half gave Colorado State a great opportunity to build that lead. But then when they brought Ledee back in the second half, he was unstoppable. One of his best performances of the season, 27 points, 10 of 14 shooting, 6 rebounds, got to the free throw line 11 times. He fouled out 2 of Colorado State's big men. They had no answer for him. When he got inside, he'd just make a move, lay it up every single time. They tried to double team. It was an excellent performance. Jaden Ledee seems to be adjusting well to the double teams. He struggled a little bit as they realized we can't let this guy beat us, so he was getting those double teams. His turnovers went way up. Yesterday, he seemed to kind of figure it out against Colorado State in that second half. Lamont Butler had a good game, 11 points, 10 rebounds, double-double. Very solid for him as well. And the second half, the rebounding was incredible, both offensive and defensive. They ended up with a 46-24 rebounding edge in that game, and most of that advantage was in the second half. There was 3 or 4 possessions where the Aztecs they got 3 offensive rebounds, 3 different chances to get shots off because they just kept going up and fighting and just ripping the ball away from Colorado State. They just wanted it more in the second half. And I don't know that we've seen that entirely from the Aztecs all season long, but that was certainly a game where they looked like they wanted it badly in the second half.
That's incredible.
First half was brutal.
It's incredible. I woke up this morning, I looked at my phone, and I went, again, had to do the math. I was like, oh, yeah, no, they not only did they covered mightily. I mean, I was shocked. They looked so bad in the very brief time that I watched in the first half.
I don't remember if it was a join in progress at the beginning. I was kind of busy right at the start of the game, but I swear to God, the first time I looked at the score, we were already down big. And I go, oh, it's going to be one of those nights.
Those nights, yeah.
Cool.
You know, and San Diego State did not make many threes last night, which is a great sign that you can still win a game against a good team like Colorado State, top 30 team in the country without making your threes. When the Aztecs make their threes, they're almost impossible to beat. When they don't, they still have a chance. It's a tougher, obviously, if you're not making your shots. But when they make their threes, you can see this team going on a run in the NCAA tournament.
For sure.
Like they did last year. They made shots in the NCAA tournament. Very hard to beat if they can do that. We need a contestant for Take on Woods. If you want to call in, we're going to play here in a couple of minutes. Try to qualify for the trip to Las Vegas, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. I had to point this out, though, last night from the Aztecs game. Steve Quiss, local sportscaster, does a lot of play-by-play now. Used to be, I think, KUSI and Channel 8 as well. He tweeted, looks like he was there at the game with his daughter. He said, felt so bad for Colorado State tonight. The second half was as bad as I've ever seen for a team. Give the Aztecs credit. My favorite part of the night is that Ted Leitner's mic is hot during commercial breaks in the restroom and on the concourse, and he has no idea.
So when I saw that this morning, you guys sent that tweet over, I thought that he pulled a naked gun, Ben, and went to the bathroom and was like going to the bathroom with a hot mic. You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
like Uncle Teddy was going pee-pee in the bathroom, like, hello, and then
what the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah, but that was not the case. He had a hot mic, but it was all over.
But you could hear it apparently at Viejas Arena during when the commercials would be on for everybody listening at home.
Right.
If you were at Viejas Arena, you just heard Ted's running conversation at the scorer's table with whoever is like sitting next to him, like, what's going on?
I pulled my diphthong in college.
That's kind of like that's a nightmare for a sportscaster. Yeah. Like if we found out like during our breaks our mics were on and everybody was hearing what we've said, and it's happened once or twice on YouTube and stuff. You'd like to think you're not saying anything too bad, but
you don't have to worry about
there's on the air conversations and there's off the air conversations, and there's definitely a difference between the two. So I'm curious as to what Steve heard Uncle Teddy say during the break.
Yeah,
bang, bang.
Probably complaining about the referees as he always does.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Although Aztecs at home got the calls. I mean, Nico Medved, the coach of Colorado State, got a technical foul. He lost his mind because his team wasn't getting the calls on the road. No one gets calls on the road in the Mountain West. So he absolutely I'm surprised he didn't get ejected. Got the technical foul. Did not stop screaming at the officials the entire time. Just lost his mind after an offensive foul was called on his team. And
bro, when you make 3 buckets in the second half,
it's not the refs' fault.
It's
not the refs.
3 baskets. 3. The
11 points was the fewest allowed by San Diego State in a half against any Division I opponent, I believe, in school history.
That's beyond insane.
Yeah, I remember a game when the Aztecs only scored 9, I think, at Wyoming in a half, but 11 is the fewest they've ever given up in a half. And this isn't like they were playing St. Catherine's. This is Colorado State.
No doubt.
They're number 30 in the net rankings, which means that's a quad 1 win for the Aztecs. That's a good team that beat you in their home floor, and you held them to 11 points in the second half. That's pretty impressive.
East County Chris says, I'd pay money to hear Uncle Teddy with a hot mic. I don't think it sounds all that different. I don't think it's all that different than when the mic's on.
He doesn't filter himself that much when he's actually on.
The guy is he pulls no punches.
You know, he's gotten to the point where he can say what he wants to say.
Correct.
And he has earned that right.
Legendary status.
Exactly.
Yep.
All right, let's get to it. Let's play today's game of Take on Woods. Take on Woods is brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. It only takes 15 minutes, and you don't have to get out of your car. For direction and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. We got a first-time contestant here. Zach is on the line. Zach, good morning to you.
Hello.
Hello. All right, you know how our game works?
Oh, yeah.
All right, 5 questions. You go first, then Woods comes. If you can beat or tie him, We will put you into the drawing for our grand prize, 2-night stay at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino, tickets to Air Supply at the International Theater May 31st and June 1st. Tickets are available at Ticketmaster.com. All right, here are your categories to choose from. You got add a zero. You add 1 0 to get the next answer of all 5 of the questions. Hook, line, and sinker. The word hook in each of the answers. And gonna be good. That is gonna is going to be in each of the song titles for that one. So add a 0, hook, line, and sinker, or gonna be good.
Let's see. Zero's seeming a little confusing to me. Let's go with hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, I think everyone's been staying away from that one, but someone will choose it eventually. All right, hook, line, and sinker. Look for the word hook in each of the answers this morning. You'll have 60 seconds. If you don't know one, you can pass and come back to it if there's time left on the clock. First question's the 2-second song. Paulie going to play a tune. You need to give me the title and the artist to score that point. We'll go on from there. Zach, you ready to play?
Ready to go.
All right, 60 seconds on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Zach. Let's take on Woods.
So I got to pass.
If you've heard of the Scandinavian band Blue Swede, it's probably because of their 1973 cover version of which song?
Pass.
Which 1970s American rock band is known for hits including When You're in Love with a Beautiful Woman and Sexy Eyes?
Oh, my gosh. Pass.
Which Megan Thee Stallion song is named after a character in Peter Pan?
Captain Hook.
Correct. Considered one of the great guitar players of all time, which blues singer from the second half of the 20th century is known for songs including Boogie Chillin' and Dimples?
Oh, I don't know. R.L. Burnside.
No. Let's go back to the 2-second song.
I know that song. Blues Travelers.
Yep. What's the category?
Just say the category.
Hook,
Yes,
you got
he
it.
said it.
Correct. You got it just in time. It's just Hook by Blues Traveler. So you did get 2.
That was a tough one.
Hooked on a Feeling, Blue Swede. Dr. Hook is When You're in Love with a Beautiful Woman. And John Lee Hooker is the guitar player and singer, blues singer. So let's bring Woods in. 2 is the score to beat. Zach, stay on the line. See if your score is good enough. Woods does not know the category. He is coming in completely in the dark. 60 seconds on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Zach.
The Hook by Blues Traveler.
Correct. If you've heard of the Scandinavian band Blue Swede, it's probably because of their 1973 cover version of which song?
Hooked on a Feeling.
Correct. Which 1970s American rock band is known for hits including When You're in Love with a Beautiful Woman and Sexy Eyes?
Pass.
Which Megan Thee Stallion song is named after a character in Peter Pan?
Captain Hook.
Correct. Considered one of the great guitar players of all time, which blues singer from the second half of the 20th century is known for songs including Boogie Chillin' and Dimples?
Save him saying Dimples for some reason. Peter Hook.
Incorrect. If you've which 1970s American rock band is known for hits including When You're in Love with a Beautiful Woman and Sexy Eyes?
Hook these nuts. I've got no idea.
Dr. Hook. Dr. Hook. And then John Lee Hooker was
John
the
Lee
one you
Hooker.
didn't get. But the 3-2 win is yours
God.
today. Zach, thank you for playing. First-time player Zach comes close, but
No
not
cigar.
quite.
Yeah, no cigar.
And take on Woods
Sorry,
today.
Zach. Man, that was not my best performance.
That was a tough
It's
category.
a tough category for sure.
Yeah,
Hook is not a common word.
It's really not.
I'm surprised I was able to find 5 songs and artists that included Hook in there.
I think my question is why? Why would you? Why would you be looking for them?
Where did that come from? Got no idea. No idea.
So John says, Woodsy listens to Megan Thee Stallion? No. That's a 100% guess based on the category.
What the
of
category
question.
sounded like, and you know characters in Peter Pan.
That's right.
I try to write them where sometimes you can figure out the answer without knowing the song.
If that was the first question, you would have been screwed.
I think that, yeah, no doubt. I think that is the only time we've ever had a thing where I don't like any of the songs in it.
So that's the one that Zach got, and then he came back and he goes, "I know it's Blues Traveler," and Paulie and I go, "Just say the category." Hook. Yeah, there, good. You got it. There you go. Let's say the category.
All right, we heard it. We heard it.
I'm trying to give the guys. That's fine.
Yeah.
Every advantage they need to take down the
Yeah,
champ.
no,
That's
we're not cheering for you, Woods.
That's
We're
fine.
cheering for the tier ones
I
in this
get it.
game.
I get
But
it,
You're
man.
very tough to beat.
I get it.
You've defended your title once again. We will have a game of real or fake tomorrow on a Throwback Thursday.
right.
Give non-musically inclined tier ones a chance to qualify for that trip to Las Vegas. All right, we'll come back with Don't Do This next. Bob Nightingale wrote about the Padres yesterday. He was in Padres camp, but he misquoted Manny Machado. It's
shocked.
one
Shocked.
word, and I think it makes a big difference in the story with what Manny said and what Bob wrote that he said. We'll talk about that coming up next with Ben Woods on San
Bob,
Diego's
it's just kid stuff.
#1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Kid stuff.
Don't Do This is brought to you by the Craft Taco in Sorrento Valley. The Craft Taco has some of the best quality tacos in all of San Diego. Go to thecrafttaco.com. Take a look at their happy hour specials today. Thecrafttaco.com. We're going next week to check out the Craft Taco. We got plans in place for our first visit. Looking forward to it. All right. One word. What's the big deal? It's an article. It's a tiny little mistake. Why is this so important? So in USA Today, Bob Nightingale was in Padres camp yesterday talking with, A.J. Preller and Joe Musgrove and Manny Machado, among other things. And he quoted Manny Machado as saying when Juan Soto departed the Padres, that the Padres lost the best player in baseball. The best player in baseball.
The top player
in baseball. I'm looking for the actual quote. I don't know why I can't find it. Had it here a second ago. The top player in baseball. Now, when your superstar player says something like that.
What is a superstar?
I'm not feeling that. Just give me.
You looked at me like I'm going to kill you.
Just give me a pass here today.
I'll give you a couple passes.
It's kind of an indictment on the team
100%.
when you say, yeah, we let the top player in baseball get away.
Here it is.
San Diego Padres third baseman Manny Machado on life without Juan Soto. Quote, "We believe in the guys that we have, but obviously no one can replace Soto. He's the top player in the game. He's irreplaceable."
I mean, that's a bad look. Manny thinks the Padres traded away the top player in the game to get a couple of, pitching pieces. That's not what he said, though. Paulie, do you have the actual audio of Manny Machado and why one word makes a difference?
Thank you, Sammy Levitt, for setting the record straight.
Guys on fire. King. Obviously, no one could replace Soto. I mean, he's the top player in the game.
Top player in the game.
I'm not saying that. But,
that's very accurate.
We believe in the guys that we have.
He is a top player in the game.
No doubt about that. That is a very different. For me, there's a very different context to saying we traded the top player in the game to we lost a top player in the game. Am I making too much of that?
No, you're not at all. And I thought, again, it got picked up by New York media, and they're tweeting about it, John Boy and everything else. And look, it's the way it goes. It's not, at the end of the day, it's not that big a deal.
Manny Machado getting misquoted.
Shocker.
Weird.
Yeah, so it's Bob Nightingale. So, but yeah, one tiny little word makes all the difference.
He also had some quotes from Yu Darvish. I have no idea if they're accurate or not, but he wrote that Padres ace Yu Darvish was promised that his 6-year, $108 million contract extension wouldn't inhibit the Padres from hitting the free agent market again, was hoping to be teammates with Ohtani or Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Quote, "Frankly speaking, it would have been nice if they came here and they were my teammates," Darvish said. Did he even bother trying to recruit them to the Padres? No, he said. Obviously, we were in a situation we were in as an organization financially and stuff like that, so we never got to that point. Now, that makes it feel like they baited and switched Yu Darvish. They told him, you signed here, and we're going to go out and try to sign Ohtani and Yamamoto when they come along, and they didn't even make an effort to do so in the offseason.
It's just grain of salt with him, man, from now on with Bob Nightingale. And it should have been for a while. I mean, it's just wild. There's always one little mistake, and that changes the entire tenor of the comment, especially by Manny. So this is an update to a story we've talked about a ton. Finally, an arrest made in the Jackie Robinson statue defacing and cutting down. Ricky Alderetti, 45 years old, charged with felony theft, aggravated criminal damage to property, identity theft, and making false information. The statue was valued at $75,000, was stolen from McAdams Park in Wichita. And the investigation, says Aaron Moses of the Wichita Police Department, the investigation has not revealed any evidence indicating this was a hate-motivated crime. We believe this theft was motivated by the financial gain of scrapping common metal. Cut that dude's legs off at the feet and was going to burn that down for it's like 85% copper, 95% copper. The rest was bronze. Was going to sell it for scrap metal, which, look, man, I get times are tight, but holy smokes. Holy smokes! You're going to cut down a Jackie Robinson statue?
Is it wrong of me to say just go rob a bank or something? It's like
that money's insured.
It's less emotional, less important to the community. If you really need the money, do that instead of cutting down a Jackie Robinson
I don't
statue.
know that we should advocate for robbing banks when times get
Maybe
tough.
not advocate.
Maybe give
for
some
it.
blood, some plasma. Maybe that.
Blood donor. Can you make money off of that?
Yes.
Yes, you can.
Absolutely.
They pay for it.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I've been to a lot of blood
Not
drives. They don't
plasma.
They don't pay at the blood drives that I've been to.
If you go
they give you orange juice and a cookie.
Yeah, you go give plasma, you can make some money off it. Like, what was it? Did you ever do it in college?
What's the difference between plasma and blood?
They pull plasma from your blood.
Right, but they're still taking your blood out.
They put the blood back in.
They put the blood back in? Do they?
I think they just pull the plasma and they cycle it.
So now you have blood without plasma in it?
They
and
return
they're
the
putting
blood
it
back to you?
No, I don't
giving
think
your
they
blood
put it back
without
in.
plasma?
I
That
can't
be
remember. When we used to
good.
do it in college, you make like $40 or something.
Yeah, I did it when I first moved to San Diego State. Didn't have any money.
Yeah.
Went and did it a couple of times. Bought a longboard and a ticket to go see Blink 182 for the first
With
time.
your plasma money. He's money well spent. The guy can't eat, and he's like, here I am.
But I was cruising around
Yeah.
campus, and I went and saw my favorite band finally.
So you've done this?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we used to do it in college.
Have you ever been a sperm donor?
Yeah, I got 2 kids. Never been paid for it.
Never been paid for it.
No. I mean, I'd be a millionaire. Literally, you'd be talking to a millionaire. I mean, if that's
a whole different conversation.
If I can make money
I mean,
off.
if you have desirable genetic traits,
You
that
seen my
people
kids?
are
My kids are
looking
beautiful.
For
My kids are
That's
stunning.
true.
They're dynamic. They're beautiful.
Maybe
long.
you should look into this.
I would do it in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. You want to pay for this? I mean, I'm giving it away for free. You know, not making any money off it. Yeah, and then go ahead, Benny. You got the last one.
All right, this is
DD Mega Doo-Doo.
This is our new manager showing a little bit of his personality. We found out
loved this.
yesterday that
great.
Mike Schilt, he's got a comedic side, but it's very deadpan and understated, as he talked about one of the possible ways the Padres could handle their outfield situation here in 2024.
When center field and left field opened up on the roster after the Grisham and Soto trade, was there any formal discussion with Fernando about the possibility of him, say, moving to center?
Yeah, we talked in the Dominican that he was going to play center and right at the same time.
Hang on. First time I saw this video, I go, "I'm sorry, what?"
He's not smiling.
Not
He's
smiling
not
at all.
laughing.
Not
He's not
chortling.
giving
Nothing.
any indication that he's joking
I'm thinking,
here.
what the hell is he talking
He
about?
talked to Fernando about playing both center and right at the same time.
And he was okay with that. And I was just going to petition the league. And like, listen, if we can have him hit second and seventh and have a pinch runner for him, would you guys be okay if we played with an outfielder short and just have Toddy play, right and center? But he gets to hit twice. And he was on board with it. And so it hadn't got much traction.
Now he's smiling. Now he's smiling.
If anybody could do it, it'd be him.
I love it, man. I love it.
He feels good and right.
Do you think that would be an advantage? Obviously, getting Fernando to bat twice in your lineup would be fantastic, but you're also losing a lot of coverage in the outfield by only having
him
two
getting
outfielders.
2 at-bats every 9.
Worth having one fewer outfielder and only 8 guys in the field.
Who's your left fielder?
It's Sugar
in one corner or one
and
gap,
gap.
and Fernando in the other gap. But Fernando gets to bat twice, second and seventh.
Very adult league. I've won games with 8. It's very
Tell
adult
those
league.
pitchers pound those corners.
Pound those corners.
Make them go to the
Yeah,
side.
yeah. Keep the ball up, so you can get them to hit it in the air. Give us time to track it. And
It'd be frustrating for other pitchers. It's like, I just faced this guy, and now he's coming up again this inning.
Yeah, it'd be phenomenal.
I mean, he'd get like 8, 9 at-bats a game. He'd probably end up hitting, 90 home runs, something like that?
Yeah, they'd be like, we got to put an asterisk here because he actually got 2 A, he
to
got
bat
7
twice.
ABs a game.
Every lineup.
See, I think if Schulte would have laughed and cracked a smile the whole time, I would have thought,
I love deadpan humor, man. I love
haha, who invited the stand-up comedian out here? But the fact that he was just trying to be dead serious, I go, oh, that's really funny.
Crushed it.
He's got a good sense of humor.
I liked it too.
I think we're gonna like Mike Schilt.
I am too. Or he's going to terrify us at one point and say something where we'll be like, is he serious? Does he really hate us? Oh, crap. Yeah. It's hard.
That's Don't and Do This for a Wednesday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, it was Sammy Levitt who got us a ton of that audio yesterday from Mike Schilt and AJ Preller and Manny Machado and more. He will join us, Sammy Spring Training from Peoria, Arizona, when we come back on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
I'm sorry for that sesame seed I just coughed on you. I do apologize.
Yeah, it actually
disgusting.
Traveled quite a distance across the room. I mean, that's good, like 5-6 feet.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Flung it from your mouth.
I had a
Absolutely
sesame seed bagel, and then I got in a coughing fit, and one just flew out of my mouth and right onto Ben's keyboard. And so I'm so sorry, Ben.
So because of the early spring training,
yes,
I don't think that we don't usually have Valentine's Day at spring training that often.
Yeah.
So, but this year, Sammy is spending Valentine's Day in Peoria, Arizona. We will talk to Sam Levitt right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your 15-minute instant drive-thru oil change. Got a collision blocking the slow lane now, westbound King Freeway, just past College. Also keep in mind in Chula Vista, investigation continues for a fatal accident in which a pedestrian was hit by a car. This is centered around L Street and Broadway, so best to try and avoid the area. Valvoline Instant Oil Change is your drive-thru oil change. It only takes 15 minutes, and you don't have to get out of your car. With all the rain lately, Valvoline is also offering replacement wiper blades. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And we are joined right now by Sammy Spring Training. So, Sammy, do you have a romantic evening planned there in Peoria, Arizona?
Yes, I'm going to be eating the pre-made salads that I bought yesterday.
That's hot.
They're sitting in the fridge. Maybe come home, dine on one of those, maybe enjoy a nice glass of seltzer, something like that. So very romantic, yes, here in the Airbnb for sure.
Salad and seltzer.
Sexy. Sexy salad and sexy seltzer. You know, it's...
Well, see, maybe I'll go out. I'll go out for dinner because I bought these salads with the purpose of bringing them to the complex because I forgot, and I'm very quickly reminded my first few days here in Peoria, a lot's going on. Like, I barely... And I'm really not exaggerating here. I barely have time to eat if I don't want to miss something or get some video on the backfield.
Yeah.
And really, once we get going and Clubhouse opens, and it's been a little bit later here, you know, it's 9:50 local time today, so a little bit later than I think what it's going to be as we get into full squad workouts. But, you know, you're going till 3-4 o'clock. So anyway, the pre-made salads are really for lunch purposes. I got one in my bag already, so maybe I'll go out for dinner. We'll see.
You know, Sammy, romance is a state of mind. You can make anything romantic if you want to. Our pal Sammy Levitt joins us from spring training. I got to give Ben a little credit here because as I'm watching the coverage these last few days, we had a discussion amongst ourselves. When do we want to go out to spring training? I think we may cancel our trip now. All the questions have been asked. I don't know that I want to go out and reiterate a bunch of questions to these guys in 2 weeks. You guys, you're doing such a great job out there. Again, we're not going to have anything left to ask, Sammy. So, I mean, like everybody's talking to Manny about soda. It was great info that you gave us yesterday. I thought that was really, really good. I've loved your coverage so far. So continue killing it out there. What are you kind of looking forward to today? What's the plan?
Yeah, I mean, look, today it's going to be more bullpens. You know, the guys who threw bullpens the other day are scheduled to throw again today. So I'll read you off the list here. I know it's Joe Musgrove. It is Adrian Morajón. It's Michael King, who looked really good the other day, and De Los Santos, Johnny Brito, Woosa Go, Alec Jacobs. So the group that threw the other day, it's pretty much alternating right now. So that's what's going on. I'm sure there'll be more work. I mean, you know, right now it is basically, you know, the organized events that are actually on the schedule are for the pitchers and catchers, and then everybody else is sort of, I think, doing their own thing. But to their credit, I mean, Manny's here. Fernando got here yesterday and was out there taking swings and looked great. And Jake Cronenworth and Ha-Sung Kim. So a lot of guys are here early. We'll see. I'm sure Xander Bogaerts will be here. Who knows, maybe today, tomorrow, whatever it might be. Just to recap kind of yesterday, what I thought was really interesting. You know, I had told you guys yesterday that I saw Manny taking ground balls and not making the throws to anywhere really. And so yesterday, after everybody's done hitting, Manny starts throwing a ball up against the chain link fence in the padding. down the line. And I'm thinking to myself, all right, this must be what he can do. And then Manny did that for a couple of minutes and then walked over to the other field and all of a sudden is playing catch with Jake Cronenworth. And my goodness, I'm right there and I'm looking at him saying, looks good to me, looks pretty normal to me. I was like, well, there's no way he's throwing a first base yet, right? And lo and behold, he goes out to third base, starts taking ground balls, and he's throwing it to first base. Looks pretty good. And he did it over and over and over again. So I thought that was really impressive. Obviously, you'd imagine it's a good sign for where he's at and the potential of him playing third base, in short order here. So we'll see when Manny spoke later, and I'm not sure what you played so far on the show today, but when he spoke later, he talked about it, being a matter of what, the arm can take right now. And it sounds like it, for as much as you would think the velocity might be part of it, it sounds like the everyday repetition of throwing is also part of it. So I didn't get clarity on this, but I'm wondering if right now there's days he throws, days he doesn't throw. But that was certainly something that stood out to me yesterday. But certainly good to hear Manny speak yesterday. He said a lot of interesting things. And to your point, Woodsy, I think as far as the questions for these guys, look, once we get out of the first week or so here, I don't know how much longer you can ask them about A, last season, or B, guys who aren't here anymore.
Man.
And by the way, they are fair questions, absolutely, to Joe, to Juan Soto, Manny Machado, to Fernando Tatis Jr. I'm sure when he has a kind of a big media scrum at some point in the next couple of days, they are fair questions. But I'm with you in the sense of I think you're going to have a week to ask him here, or whatever time frame you want to put on it, and then it's kind of be it's going to be moving on time.
Yeah,
and,
we're going to just spin the topic wheel with them, I think, in every interview. So, what's your favorite movie, Jake?
Right, and I think right, and I think what's interesting about this spring training compared to last year is last year there was so much focus on what the big four would do.
Yeah.
Tatis, Bogaerts, Soto, Machado. And certainly there's focus on now the big three, what they're going to do. But there are so many very legitimate questions about this roster, the outfield, all these different things that we continue to talk about, that we've talked about for quite some time, that I don't know that the main focus is on those three guys. And, we know who they are and we know what they're likely to do. And we understand the context of this season when you think about what happened last year. So it's a different spring training, different set of storylines. Hey, good to hear Manny talk yesterday, and we continue on.
Sam Levitt joins us from Padres spring training in Peoria, Arizona. Sam, I know there's no guarantees, but my takeaway from A.J. Preller yesterday was that there is another move coming, at least one. Whether it's a trade or a free agent signing, he's going to do something here before the end of spring training. Did you get that sense as well?
Yeah, look, there's no guarantees, right? But he certainly didn't shut it down when he was asked yesterday. I mean, he talked about the flexibility, and it certainly sounds like that flexibility may not just be about the opening day roster, but potentially later in the year when you talk about the CBT number and all those different sorts of aspects, because, I do think there is a scenario where, okay, maybe there is a move left, but maybe it's not something that's, going to be huge. Well, if this team is in contention come August, are there moves to be made? And can you maintain some of that flexibility as you get deeper into the year? Yeah. But I'm with you, Ben. He didn't shut it down. It certainly sounds, and I thought AJ, was, you don't always get a ton from him publicly, but I thought he was, pretty upfront yesterday saying that, there are discussions going on, and he talked about trade discussions, and obviously there are things still going on behind the scenes. And I think you got to assume that too, because look at the market. I mean, look at these guys that haven't signed yet. I mean, there's so much going on across the sport right now. So I'm with you, Ben. I thought it was pretty clear that there are still things going on behind the scenes. Whether those things come to fruition, whether it's something super significant, to be seen. But I'm with you. I thought it was pretty clear that, in all likelihood, there's at least some sort of move left to be made.
Talking to our pal, Sammy Spring Training out live at Padres Spring Training in Peoria, Arizona. Jackson Merrill is another guy you got a chance to catch up with yesterday. I think we're probably going to play some of that audio later in the show, but just kind of give us your impressions of him. Did see some video of him working out in the outfield as well. I think, a position like that, like, hey, kid, you have a chance to make this team. He's like, sure, put me anywhere. I mean, I just want to be a big leaguer. What were your impressions of Jackson?
Yeah, I didn't see him play with my own two eyes in the outfield yesterday. Darnay Tripp, he scooped me.
That's all right. Darnay will get you sometimes.
I love Darnay, but he has a cameraman too, so there's a little advantage there. So I was not out there when Jackson was working out there. At least I didn't notice it. But with that said, we did talk to him in the clubhouse, and I thought there were a couple of takeaways from that yesterday. Number one, I think he is very, very open-minded about this entire situation. There was nothing he said that would indicate that he is intimidated by the possibility of playing the outfield and playing there every day. And it's clearly something that he has worked on going back to last season, as we know, and was a big part of his off-season work. I think there's a clear mentality where he wants to be versatile and he wants to do what it takes, and I don't say this in a cliche way, but like do what it takes to somehow make this team. So look, he appears really accepting of that, which I think is really good. So look, I thought he seemed really confident and calm and has that maturity about him, just like we talked about with Ethan Salas the other day. It's funny, I went back and watched the interview I did with him last year. I thought he seemed maybe just a little bit more comfortable and confident this time around. And that makes a ton of sense because he was in that major league clubhouse last year. If you remember, he played a ton during spring training last year because of the WBC. So he's not walking into that clubhouse for as young as he is. This is not his first time going through this and going through a major league spring training and being in the clubhouse with these guys. And I think obviously, like he alluded to, the big difference between last year and this year is that last year, I think we all understood it was just supposed to be a good experience for him to get him ready for his own minor league season. This year, he has a very legitimate shot to make this team as currently constructed out of spring training and make it as somebody who could play the outfield every day. So I thought he handled everything well. I did not see the work in the outfield, but I came away, as I have been with Jackson, impressed, and he certainly seems to understand what's in front of him. And I think, too, and I had asked him about his offense because there's been so much focus on the defensive side in this transition to the outfield. But I think it's important to remember, and he said, offensively he feels good, but it's important to remember, like, the offensive part of it is really the thing. And that's not to say that you want him to be a liability in the outfield. But if he can hit major league pitching in a month, then he can hit major league pitching in a month, and I don't think you're going to focus, all that much on the defense. It's important, but let's not forget about the offensive side. He's got to hit, and he's got to be ready for that part of it. So, I know this is a long answer, but when you talk about A.J. Preller, too, one of the things I'd asked A.J. about was how do you balance with guys like Merrill, Marcy, Paulie, the needs you have right now on the roster versus their development. And I thought A.J. made it pretty clear that they're not going to rush guys if they're not ready, which I think is a really good answer because I don't think the Padres should do that. Like if there's a scenario where, hey, Jerks and Profar's got to play left field for a couple of months until you feel like Merrill or one of these guys is ready, that's something you have to consider because I don't think they should be rushed. So I thought that was an encouraging answer from AJ. And but look, Jackson seems up for the challenge and up for the opportunity and understands what's in front of him, no doubt.
Before you go, Sam, we have Stephanie Daly, who's a relationship dating blogger, content creator, joining us in studio later in the show. Do you have any questions, relationship questions that we can ask Stephanie for you?
Write one down.
Any relationship questions.
If you think of one, you can put it in the chat, Sammy.
I can put it in the chat. I can text you. No, because I have it all figured out. I'm in a very good, healthy relationship. To be honest with you, for all the listeners out there, it's the first, it's the first real relationship I've really ever had, and it's going very nicely. So I think everything's good. I've learned some things. Certainly learned that you got to consider certain things and
like other people's
understand
feelings and stuff.
Understand that there are things that are
important. Is that a problem?
Right? No, not at all.
Okay.
She met me during baseball season, so she gets it. But you got to understand there are certain things that are important to the other person that may not make sense to you initially.
Right.
But because they're important to the other person, they've got to be important to you. So I've learned a lot of lessons lately, and good lessons and important lessons. And quite frankly, gentlemen, it was time for me to grow up a little bit and start learning that life is about more than me.
It's exactly
life is
right.
about more than Sam Levitt.
Exactly right.
She's probably
our young
listening.
man is all grown up
She
now.
listens to the program quite often, so she's probably listening right now. Happy Valentine's Day.
She's a sweet angel. We met her. She's just fantastic. So,
Sammy,
don't mess it up.
have a good day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye, Sammy.
There he is, Sam Levitt, Sammy Spring Training, keeping his relationship happy and thriving even while he's off and covering the Padres at spring training.
I mean, let's be honest. That's probably
a little bit. Yeah, absence makes the heart grow fonder.
That's exactly
is what
right.
they say.
Really works.
All right, we will have Stephanie Daly joining us in the second half of Ben and Woods. Up next, though, all it says here is
Ben.
sexy songs and Ben reads romance, whatever that means. So that's coming up next.
Here we go.
With Ben and Woods here on 97.3 The Fan.
Halfway home on a Valentine's Day here on Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Thanks so much for being here. You guys are all our Valentines. I would give you each a candy heart. If I could, I'd give you a Valentine, a little hug, whatever it is that you desire on Valentine's Day. It's a day about love, a day for love. I've embraced it. I used to be against it, and I'm for it now. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, the executive producer. Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. And, yeah, Valentine's Day, of course, it's a made-up corporate holiday, Benjamin. But you don't want to mess it up.
Well, yeah, and we're going to make sure that you don't mess it up. As we mentioned with Sammy, we're going to have Stephanie Daly in later. And as Paul just told me, if you have a question for Stephanie, who's the relationship, dating, content creator, and she's just been kind of digging into all of this herself. She does great stuff. You can go to our Instagram story, and there's a little box where you can type in your question. So go to the Ben and Woods Instagram story, type in your question, and we will ask Stephanie some of the Tier 1 questions coming up later. Now, you're also offering up Valentine's Day advice. I saw last night on Twitter, at least trying to figure out what's the proper procedure in terms of Valentine's
not
Day.
giving
Yeah,
advice.
I could have used her help yesterday, and I probably should have just DM'd her and asked her what I should do. But I got home yesterday, and I went, all right, logistically, Valentine's Day being... This was yesterday. So Valentine's Day being tomorrow, should I now, at noon, go out and get stuff for Valentine's Day? So what's the cut? Like, ladies, if you woke up this morning and there wasn't a card or flowers when you woke up, no matter what time you woke up, are you like, oh, cool, man? Or shouldn't there be, like, as long as you get it in by the deadline?
11:59 p.m.
Yeah, is that the trade deadline?
As long as it comes by Valentine's Day, card, flowers, you get it at 11:59 p.m., you have satisfied the Valentine's Day requirements.
I would try that.
So I thought that as well. And I thought, all right, well, wake up on Valentine's Day. I won't have anything for her. And she's probably not going to be happy with that. So
it's not Christmas morning. You're not expecting to wake up to presents necessarily, are you? Later in the day's fine.
The ladies might.
The ladies might.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Somebody said to me, well, the answer is, what did your wife hint at? And I said, oh, my wife doesn't hint. She only yells at me when I inevitably make the wrong choice. So I always feel like I'm up against it either way. Whatever I do is going to be the wrong move. So I decided I was going to take the bull by the horns, so to speak. And I went and got everything yesterday. And when I got a dozen huge thing of red roses. Bo made her a card. I wrote her out a card, got her some little candy hearts and stuff. And I just set it up. And I was going to do a bit where I threw a towel over it and said, don't look at this till tomorrow.
Now, it's not Mother's Day. It's Valentine's Day.
Right.
Do you get a card from Bo or Taylor?
No, Mama does, though. Mama does. I called my mom this morning, and I said, happy Valentine's Day to my first Valentine. Was your mom? Yeah.
Would you like a little Colonel budget tip?
Sure.
If you wait until February 15th, flowers often go on sale that weren't purchased for Valentine's Day, so you can get a real discount by just being patient and waiting until the 15th.
Yeah, I paid double pretty much yesterday. But
the flower market is just through the roof right
now.
Well,
they know.
I'm used to that.
They consider you a hostage. Yeah. They know you have to buy them, so they're going to charge as much as possible. It's like Super Bowl weekend, Vegas hotels. They're going to charge the maximum rate because they know you have no choice. If you're going, you got to stay there. You're going to pay it. Flowers at Valentine's Day are the same thing.
I just booked a trip to Vegas for Megan's birthday later this year. We are going the day after F1 ends.
Smart.
Dude, the price drop from Saturday to Sunday was absurd. We're like, yep, that sounds good to us.
It's like telling your kids, though, hey, everybody does Christmas on the 25th. We're actually going to do it on the 27th. I think you guys will be fine. Just pretend like it's any other day. I mean, yeah, there's obviously ways to
you get to look forward to it longer than everybody else.
Yes, exactly right. It's going to mean more to you guys. So I did. I went out and got the flowers, the card, and all that. And I will say, I woke up to nothing today. I'm also a Valentine. I'm her Valentine, and I did feel good.
Do you really think so? Is it important for guys to be remembered on Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
Or is it just is it just for the guys to remember their ladies?
Huh. Well, it's not Ladies' Day. It's Valentine's. I'm her Valentine's Day. You know, my kid yesterday, after we get out of the flower shop, and I go, well, we got to go get Mama a card, and you need to make a card. He goes, why? He goes, it's Valentine's Day. I go, yeah, she's your Valentine. And he goes, well, when's Kids Day? And I turn around, I go, it's every day, you little. I go, let's see. We wipe your ass every day. We feed you every day. We clothe you every day. You don't have to pay for rent. You have no bills. You have no job. You do nothing around here. We pick up your message. I go, every day is Kids Day. And then I turned, I go, oh my God, I'm my dad. Can vividly remember asking that question when I was a little kid. So, yeah, we got it all knocked out. Funny aside, yesterday, Hannah called when we were driving home, and she goes, I just ran into Ben's mom, Kim. And I said, you did? And she said, yeah. And she looked fabulous. So it's on speakerphone in the car. Bo says from the back seat, who's Kim? Hassan Kim's mom? And I started dying laughing. I couldn't tell if he was serious or if he was kidding. I go, no, it's Ben's mom. He goes, oh. Like he was bummed out. He wanted his mom to know Hassan Kim's mom. Because her name was Kim. Kim. It was fantastic. Yeah, Kim. Kim. It was fantastic. But yeah, so listen, I know it's a corporate day. I like to cover my bases and make sure I cover my ass. Try to at all times. So I went ahead and knocked it out. Now, my question to you is, I did it yesterday. It's all done. I don't have to do anything today, right? You got yours a day early. Are you going to feel left out?
I would say that you've already taken care of it and you're good to go. But it really doesn't matter what I think or you think. It only matters what Hannah thinks. Oh. And if she is disappointed that nothing happens today, then that's going to be on you.
Yeah. Yeah, but we're not doing anything tonight or anything like dinner or anything like that. It's not important enough for us to go get a sitter and we're going to go out on Valentine's Day. I mean, where are we going to go?
I feel like our last night, our fancy dinner,
of course,
that was our celebration.
I felt like our fancy dinner on Friday night was a Valentine's Day type celebration. So that's what we're rolling with.
Satan's Blowfish says, if that's what Ben thinks, do the opposite.
Yeah, if Ben thinks it, then I'll just do the opposite. Be honest, you've never waited till the 15th to buy flowers. Never.
Yeah.
You full of it. There's no way.
I mean,
how'd that go for you?
Fine.
Your voice went up.
Yeah, don't lie to me, dude.
You're lying.
Okay? You've never done that.
That's
There's
fine.
no way. There's no way.
That's okay. Fine.
Do you guys get anything for Valentine's Day?
I have done I got cards in advance, but then got flowers afterwards. It extends the whole process of Valentine's Day. It makes it a multiple day experience.
You're a legend, is what you are. Tevin says Ben is my GD spirit animal. Yeah, Ben should eat a bean for lying.
I think you're going to have me do something else.
This is incredible, actually. So we used to do Ben Reed's Raps on this show, and it just kind of got played out after a while. But I was thinking about Valentine's Day and love and love making, and I was talking to Paulie on the phone, and we were talking about we've done this bit before, the sexy songs for go time and all that. Paulie did the bit last year of the worst songs to listen to while doing that. The Home Depot song was actually one of them. So we started thinking about. So I started thinking about
Baby Shark.
I went to Spotify and I just typed in sexy songs, and one came up that I'd never heard before. And I thought to myself, well, I need Ben to read this because I want to hear him read this romantic song from a guy we know very well, Barry White. I was unfamiliar with it, and I said, well, this
is a little foreplay here.
This is perfect. This is absolutely perfect. So if you would, Paulie.
Let's get it on.
This is Love Serenade.
Love Serenade. Oh, how sweet.
Barry White. Yeah, this is for all the ladies out there, okay? So just close your eyes and listen.
Listen to Ben Higgins.
This is a real
song. This was recorded.
Okay. Take it off. Baby, take it all off. I want to see you the way you came into the world.
Wow.
I don't want to feel no clothes. I don't want to see no panties. And take off that brassiere, my dear. Everybody's gone. I'm taking the receiver off the phone because, baby, you and me, this night, we're going to get it on to Love Serenade. You know I get in these moods. Well, you know how it is. And I'm very glad to know that you feel the same way, too. Baby, we're going to lay here, and we're going to make love. And we're going to do it like it's supposed to be done.
Oh, my God.
Heaven only knows what goes on behind closed doors. The very depth of our souls will reach out tonight, you and me, baby, in love, serenade. Make me want you, tempt me. Tempt me. Tempt me. Make me need you. Let me long for you. You know what it's like when a man and woman become one. And the only real way you can do that, baby, is when we're making love to each other. When you reach that simple feeling when you're making love, it's like you're in another world. Help me. Help me. Oh, baby, help me. Lord, have mercy on me. By Barry White.
Barry White was the horniest dude.
This jumps right in on you.
Do the first part again.
Take it off, baby. Take it all off.
Okay. This part weirded me out.
I want to see you the way you came into the world.
Like a baby.
Birthday suit.
Yeah, okay. Oh, that's what you meant.
I don't want to feel no clothes. I don't want to see no panties.
That is so hard.
And take off that brassiere, my dear.
That is so hardcore.
Yeah.
Take off my brassiere, my
on what planet?
Oh,
if
my
you are
God.
seducing a woman, do you say, take off that brassiere, my dear? Try it tonight and text us tomorrow. Let us know how it goes.
This is Barry White. This is can't miss stuff.
It really is. Like
this
Barry White.
This is what women want, right?
Apparently.
He's an expert on the subject.
His producer was like, are you sure you want to say, I don't want to see no panties and take your brassiere off? Is that
my dear?
You want to do this?
Well, it rhymes.
You knocked that out of the park. That was beyond spectacular.
Shout out to Tevin. He just upgraded his membership, and he says, "Guys, I'm at work. You can't make me hot and bothered."
Yeah,
here."
I mean that would. If I was a woman, that would have gotten me.
I think being a
with the sultry
little
voice,
bit under
a
the
little
weather
sick
has
actually
helped me channel the Barry White a little bit.
Take off that brassiere, my dear. Try that tonight.
It
See how that
rhymes.
goes. It does rhyme. I don't want to see no panties. I'm gonna text my wife.
I don't
that
mind
right
seeing panties.
Settle down. All right, we got to go to break.
Oh my God.
All right, when we come back, our friends
Lord.
Annie and Elston brought up. I think it was an interesting suggestion. I don't know that I agree with the suggestion, but they came up with an idea yesterday involving the Oakland A's and San Diego.
Why are you wearing that hat that way? Is the other thing I want to know. Like a newsboy.
I thought that was the more sexy way to wear it. Backwards backwards is when I'm hip hop reading raps.
This is when you're delivering papers after school. Hear ye, hear ye.
Extra, read all about it.
God.
World War I has come to an end. Extra.
Shoeless Joe Jackson cheats in the World Series. Oh, it's so good. So good.
All right, we'll be back after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. We had Sammy Levitt joining us just a little while ago. Sam Levitt's appearances from Padres Spring Training are always brought to you by your San Diego County Toyota dealers. We make it easy. Emily Nyman will join us for our Tier 1 tour as we turn our attention to the New York Yankees coming up here at the bottom of the hour. The Pinstripes trying to get back to... When's the last time the Yankees won a World Series?
9.
Yeah. And then before that, they had their big dynasty run. But that's a long time for the Yankees to go without any real measure of success,
and really not a lot of you know, I mean, they make the playoffs, have winning seasons and stuff, but yeah, without a championship, I think the natives are getting quite restless there.
So Paulie caught some of this segment with Annie and Elston yesterday. You know, the Oakland A's are currently looking for a temporary home. They're going to play in the Coliseum this year. I think they're talking to the Coliseum about maybe extending in Oakland, but also talking to Sacramento and Salt Lake City about places they can play while they build their Las Vegas stadium that won't be ready until 2028. And Paulie said, Annie and Elston brought up the idea, what if they just played in San Diego?
It's hysterical.
At Petco Park. Like on the days when the Padres are on the road, they could have
a nightmare
home games.
for the MLB scheduling crew.
But essentially, you play half your games at home and half on the road. So you theoretically could figure it out where you could schedule 2 teams in the same ballpark all summer long, and you could make it work.
This is obviously next season because they have one
Not
more
this
year.
year.
Yeah,
they're in Oakland this year, but
Yep.
they still don't have a home for 2025 and beyond. It could be 2025, 2026, 2027, maybe even 2028 if their stadium gets delayed. So this could be 3 or 4 years that they need a temporary home.
Are we bailing out some bad behavior?
A little bit.
Are we
a little
enabling?
complicit in the I mean, they're going to end up somewhere.
They are, but also and you know, you go back and forth because you think the last thing you want to do is bail out a league and a commissioner and an owner that have all just crapped themselves about this thing. There's just no question about it. They've just soiled themselves, and it's a teenager that has a grand idea and has not thought out any repercussions or no road landmarks along the way. Just like, I'm doing this. All right, idiot, do it. So are we bailing them out? I can see that it could also be beneficial to the city of San Diego. The team, could make some money
Activate
off of it.
Petco Park every single night.
I mean, a lot of people could work more. They could make more money.
6 straight months of baseball.
6 straight months of baseball. Like, I don't really feel like going to the Padres game. I'll go check out the A's. I mean, it's weirder than hell to think about.
It would be a less crowded, more affordable experience to go see an A's game.
Yeah, Tom says, forget helping out a team trying to abandon their city. Yeah, we should be more anti this than almost anyone.
There would be an occasional Padres road game at the A's, which would be weird, where they'd be playing as the road team at Petco Park if they were doing that in an interleague game.
Now, that would be fun. That's more Padres baseball at home for us.
I think the Padres, they'd have to pretty much cancel. There wouldn't be any concerts or anything all summer long, though. They wouldn't have the ability to hold any other events or activities at Petco Park. There's quite a bit that goes on there.
They make more money, though, housing 81 baseball games versus the
maybe not
10 to 12 concerts
I mean,
they have.
how many people are the A's really going to draw?
Right. How many?
They're drawing about 3,000 or 4,000 a game up in Oakland.
Do you think the A's draw more playing a home game in Petco Park against, the Seattle Mariners or Oakland right now? You might get more fans down here.
Yeah, Satan's Blowfish says it would be for like a pittance. You know what I mean? I get it if they want to support another team and the players. But the idea that the A's are some massive cash cow waiting to happen for SD is a total fantasy. Now, look, if the Dodgers wanted to use our home stadium, well, we could get our paper. We could stack our paper a little higher.
You know that Dodgers fans like Petco Park more than Dodger Stadium.
There's no question.
I don't even know if they hide it.
I don't think they do.
They like coming down to Petco Park more than they like going to their own stadium to watch games. I think that has been very clear, which means, of course, you get a lot of Dodgers fans for Padres home games when the Dodgers are playing, but that's because
they like it.
Dodgers fans prefer our ballpark to their own ballpark.
So this is obviously a pretty far-fetched idea.
Yeah.
It was just kicking it around. I like the idea.
It's the off-season.
Now, eventually, they need to play somewhere. and they've kicked around, like, they've looked at Salt Lake City, they've looked in Reno, they've looked in Sacramento. Let's call it Reno. They end up landing there for a couple of seasons, the A's. Are they the Reno A's?
No,
Are they still the Oakland A's?
Or they're the Las Vegas
Las
A's.
Vegas
I think if
A's.
they leave, I think they become the Las Vegas A's playing
Before they
in
play in
Reno or
Vegas?
Sacramento. Although maybe if it's Sacramento, they stay the Oakland A's playing in Sacramento. But if they go to Salt Lake City, are they the Las Vegas A's playing in Salt Lake City?
They have a TV deal. We don't.
Reno, they could be the Nevada A's.
Yeah, the Nevada A's. It's an S show. It is what it is. It's a total S show, and I feel bad for guys like Brent Rooker. Feel bad for guys like Mark Kotze. And that's the other thing is you're playing in all this uncertainty. And do you even know if you're Mark Kotze, if you're going to be able to see this thing through to Las Vegas, whenever that may be? You're talking 4 years from now at a best case scenario. 4 years. Like what manager lasts?
That would be a real long shot to think that Mark Kotze would still be the manager by the time they make it to Las Vegas.
I mean, it could happen. If I'm Mark Kotze, don't you go in and say, "Hey, man, I'll steer this ship, but I want." If that's what we're doing,
a 6-year deal.
I want, let me get a taste of that. If I'm going to sit and wear it for you, and have no payroll and no fans and all that.
But we talked about it a little bit yesterday. Our friend Jenny Kavnar, former Padres pre- and post-game show host, yesterday was named the first ever female lead play-by-play announcer in baseball history. She's going to be doing A's games. And, I mean, that's a double-edged sword a little bit.
It is.
To go and broadcast games for a team with a shrinking fan base, with an uncertain future. I mean, if Jenny has, I don't know, assume, 2 or 3 year deal, no idea where you're even living after the first year. Yeah, one summer in Oakland, but after that, am I in Reno? Am I in Salt Lake City?
Am I in a Hampton Inn extended stay? You know what I mean? Like that's really the reality.
I'll be cheering for Jenny, and
Me too.
I think she absolutely had to take that opportunity, even though it was with the Oakland A's. I don't. Oh, you shouldn't have taken that. You shouldn't have taken that job. You're just legitimizing the A's. No, of course she's got to take that opportunity.
Bro, if Mark Kotze texted me today and said, "Do you want to be my bench coach in Oakland?" Yeah, I would. Do you want to hit fungos? Yes. It's a chance to work in big league baseball.
I feel like there's like a tiny chance that could actually happen.
There's not.
You don't think so?
I don't know enough. I don't think. I'm a big rah-rah guy.
You are a big rah-rah guy.
Huge glue guy.
You have your own team.
Yep.
So, some experience.
A little
with
bit
that.
of experience. Yeah.
You can motivate.
Yeah.
People like to follow you.
Sure. Or kill me. One of the two.
That's
There's
true.
no middle ground.
Yeah.
They either love me or
But,
hate
there's
me.
like Dick Williams. They either loved him, hated him.
Yeah.
You can rally people by getting them all to hate you, too.
That's true.
They don't have to all like you.
I can hit fungos and whatever.
Can
need.
you?
Yeah.
It's not like Kevin Costner in Field of Dreams when he misses
Nope.
the first one to
No,
Shoeless
I
Joe.
can.
I'll get some out there. I'll get some out there.
I'll get some out there too. No, I can do it. But yeah, I mean, it's an opportunity to work in the big leagues. So yeah, you take any chance you get, especially being the first woman to do it. Like,
it's awesome.
It's incredible. So yeah, for her, she's just going to go in and do her job every day. And really, I think in all of these games, in all of these teams, for any announcer or anybody in the game, it's just always about what's next. What can I parlay this into? Where could I end up? And I mean, stranger things have happened. She could be the next Dodgers play-by-play person. You never, ever know, because now you get some reps, and now you're the person that gets to do it. I think no-brainer for her, and really stoked to hear it.
Speaking of great baseball women, Emily Nyman, host of the Breaking Balls podcast, is going to join us when we come back as we focus our Tier 1 tour in on the New York Yankees, previewing the Pinstripes. That is coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All right, blinded by the pinstripes coming up here.
You're blinded by the pinstripes.
Talking about the New York Yankees, we will fire up the Tier 1 tour bus and talk to Emily Nyman right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
Murray reports of some debris in middle lanes and collision involving several vehicles westbound 8 just past Lake Jennings Park Road. That is in the center divide. Big news from Soapy Joe's chief bubble officer, Tony Gwynn Jr. Have you heard you can create 4 customized ball cards with Tony Gwynn Jr. through the Soapy Joe's Car Wash AR game and win amazing prizes? Visit SoapyJoesCarWash.com for more details. Soapy Joe's is good, clean fun. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
That engine is purring like a kitten.
Like a cat, buddy.
We are on to day 6 of our Tier 1 tour as we preview each Major League Baseball team in turn, counting down to opening day for your San Diego Padres. And joining us today from the Breaking Balls podcast, Emily Nyman is with us here on 97.3 The Fan. Emily, good morning to you. Thank you for your time.
Good morning, guys. How's it going?
Oh, we need some audio here. Hang on. Paulie's going to make sure your audio is on. We see you, though.
Need your Zoom.
You can wave to everybody.
Yep,
We're
there
good.
she is.
We just can't
hear you.
Hear you.
It's all right.
I think she can hear us.
She can probably hear us.
We just can't hear her, which is important on radio.
She can write her answers down and hold them up.
That's true, and we can translate to the audience outside. So just find your whiteboard and get ready to. Paulie, you good?
No.
This is unusual for
They
Paulie.
can hear her in the chat.
How about-
There we go.
Oh,
There we go. Got you. Hi.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me.
It is our pleasure. Now we got you. So here we go. We're just a few weeks away from the scintillating, dread of the baseball season. I know that Yankee fans going through it as well as Padre fans last year. But you guys, you added a nice little piece this offseason.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's been a while since the Yankees really made a move like this, and I know it was at the expense of all my dear friends in San Diego,
Correct.
but I have to say I cried a little bit when it happened.
We did too when we got him, and then a little bit when we lost him. We desperately needed pitching. We did get some of that back. Good morning, everybody. You take one, but we got some of your pitchers back. How do you feel about your rotation, your bullpen going into the season?
The rotation, I got to have faith in it. I can only hope that Rodon comes back strong. I really like the Stroman pickup. I have to be honest. I think he's a solid 3-4 pitcher. Nestor, I think, is going to have a bounce back season. You can always count on Cole. He's an ace. He's a workhorse. And as far as the bullpen goes, Brian Cashman and Matt Blake, they have really proven over the years that they can squeeze some diamonds out of the rough. And I know that we lost some depth. Michael King was a huge loss to our bullpen, to our rotation also. But they picked up some guys, and they really just have a way of developing pitchers. And I got to trust the process when it comes to the bullpen.
Emily, let me pick up on that because the spin here in San Diego generally was A.J. Preller did a pretty good job in maximizing what he could get for 1 year of Juan Soto, even though you're still losing Juan Soto. They got a lot of pitchers. Was that the view? Did it hurt for Yankees fans in New York? Was that we gave up a lot for this guy? Or are they like, oh, no, we got Juan Soto. We could care less who we're giving up?
There's always some jokers that have to complain about everything, and they have to act as if they're the GM, like they're the super GM above Brian Cashman, and they have to question and critique every single move no matter what. But the reality is you can't call Juan Soto a rental. You know what I mean? He's Juan Soto. He's a top 5 player in the game. He's going to be batting just ahead of Aaron Judge, another top 5 player in the game. So for all these years, the Yankees have been seemingly afraid almost to go after that guy and to give up these pieces, but they finally did it. And that's what it takes to win and contend for a championship, especially in the tough division like the AL East.
Talking to our pal Emily Nyman. She's the host of the Breaking Balls podcast, big Yankee fan. And yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, here in a few months, though, you guys will start to feel that existential dread of, oh, God, I really would like to keep Juan Soto here long term, being that he's a Boris guy. I mean, you almost know he's going to hit free agency. So it's that weird kind of sweet spot where you're like, I hope he has a monster year and helps us contend. But every time he does something Juan Soto like, you go, oh, I can just hear I can hear the cash register ringing for him. And he's deserving of it. I mean, he is that kind of next level generational type player.
Yankees fans went through that with Aaron Judge.
Yeah, they did.
The greatest bet on yourself year maybe ever.
Of all time. Of all time. Right. And so the dread will come soon, but enjoy watching him play because he is fun to watch play.
I mean, honestly, the cash register rings when I just think of the season happening and going to games and buying tickets and merch. So this team makes so much money. They have transcended the sport. I'll watch sports in other countries, shows from other countries, and I'll see people in the stands wearing Yankee hats. So there's no excuse for me that they can go out and get whoever they want if they really want them. And the way I see it is that this is a year-long courtship.
Yeah.
Of Juan Soto, that they don't have to wait until he hits free agency to be able to talk to him and convince him while he's getting all these other offers. That I like that they have him for the next 6 months and they can show him what being a Yankee will be like and what he can come to expect. And I mean, I think that puts them in a very good position. And I don't think that they would necessarily make a move like this if they didn't intend on keeping him, especially after signing Aaron Judge to 9 years and having Cole for another few years. Only a few more years of the window left. So you got to strike while the iron is hot.
That's a good point.
Of course, the Yankees also picked up another player in that deal. Trent Grisham is now in pinstripes. Do you foresee him? Obviously, a great defensive center fielder. The offense has been an issue. You've got Aaron Judge that can play center. Will he DH more often to get Trent Grisham's glove into the lineup, or is Trent Grisham now just going to be a bench piece for the Yankees?
I think that Trent Grisham's going to be a fourth outfielder. I think that Verdugo will be in right field, who is one of my great enemies, and now he's in pinstripes. So I have no choice but to cheer for him and root for his success. So I think that Grisham will end up being a late game swap in with Aaron Judge, that Judge is going to get the majority of innings in center field, because if anything is proven with him and also with Giancarlo Stanton, that they play better on both sides of the ball when they are in the lineup and they're out in the field, as opposed to just sitting on the bench waiting for their turn.
I forgot
Aaron Judge needs to be in the field. He's a captain.
I forgot about Giancarlo Stanton. I legitimately forgot that he was there.
I wish I could.
I love him.
Maybe you should go back to Mike now.
When he comes on the screen, Mrs. Woods will give an audible response when he's on, like a
He's a specimen.
Yeah, he's a specimen.
Oh my God.
Right? Yeah, it's very much like that when he comes on the screen. But yeah, the old injury bug has gotten him, and some years he'll put weight on to try to stay healthy. Some years he'll take weight off to try to stay healthy. For him, though, I mean, if he's humming with Judge, with Soto, that is pretty formidable lineup. I wanted to ask you, though, in the long-standing tradition, Emily, of acquiring players that Yankee fans absolutely loathed, I'd like to welcome Alex Verdugo to the Bronx as well, which was kind of a weird addition from Brian Cashman.
And it happened, if you guys remember, like a day or two before the Soto trade happened. So in my pessimistic, woe is me, Yankee brain, I was like, this is it. This is the move. Soto is not happening.
Yep.
This guy is going to be the answer. Another player that I absolutely detest, because Josh Donaldson was not enough a few years ago.
Right.
They had to bring this clown in. But I've never been more positive about Alex Verdugo since they traded for Soto. Then I was like,
weird,
okay,
right?
maybe this guy's not so bad.
I got to call you out, though. Pessimistic, woe is me, Yankee brain. I know we were just talking that the Yankees haven't won a title since 2009. 2009? Padres have never won one. I mean, it's just no comparison. There's 27 rings. Was it 27?
27. What makes it worse, though?
It is.
Never.
I mean, you can't really go with the woe is me route as a Yankees fan, even though it's been 15 years.
But what if you're used to it? You're just used to it, and then you don't get it. I don't know. Like, I get it. I can totally see where you're coming from, Em.
Do you remember the NLCS 2 years ago? That was like a drug.
It was.
I need it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, they need that too. They got a bunch. You get all those good drugs for years, and then you don't get any more drugs. You're like,
They've got 27 different drugs.
Where's my drugs? I can see where she's coming from.
I mean, I have to give a lot of credit to basically half the league, right? That doesn't contend year after year.
Yep.
The Yankees won 82 games last year. They snuck over 500. It was literally the worst season in my memory as a fan, because the few years where they dropped below 90 and didn't make the postseason, 2016, it was expected. A-Rod was 100 years old. Jeter was playing shortstop at 67 years old. So you expect them to not contend. But last year was an absolute disaster. Everything that could have gone wrong did. And I don't know how fans of teams that win 70 games every year just come back for more and more.
I just like to also offer my sympathy to Chiefs fans. They haven't won a Super Bowl in like 2 days.
It's been
now,
like 3 days since they won it. Yeah,
it's
well,
been
trust me, they're
a rough stint for them.
They're going to expect one next season. That's the beauty of fandom, and we certainly appreciate it. I wanted to ask you before we let you go, talking to our friend Emily Nyman from the Breaking Balls podcast here on Ben and Woods. So, you know, in your time as a Yankee fan, the Orioles were never somebody that you worried about. And now I think we all look to the Orioles, and you have to tip your cap and say, well, you've developed some really great players. And now with a new ownership group, you know, who knows? And they traded for Corbin Burns. It's fun, though. When they're good, it's fun. The Yankees-Orioles matchups from back in the day were just incredible. How much do you, I guess, respect, tip your cap to, or fear the Baltimore Orioles right now?
You know, I do. I tip my cap to them. It only took them 20 years of tanking to get to this point. So good work, everybody. And I'm not afraid of them. I'm not afraid of anybody, because at the end of the day, you got to go out there and you got to play the games. And we saw what happens in October. It's all about just getting your foot in the door. Doesn't matter if you win the division. Doesn't matter if you sneak in that second wild card spot. They didn't win a single postseason game. No AL East team did. The Yankees have as many postseason wins as that squad of Orioles does at this point in time. So I'm not afraid of anybody. Bring it on.
I love her so much. You are the true GOAT. You are just the best. I only took you 20 years. Congrats.
We
on
do
the
that
rebuild.
too, though. Padres have won more playoff games than the Dodgers
Recently,
in the last 3 years.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. You're the best. Thanks so much,
Emily.
Em.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Emily Nyman covering the Yankees from the Breaking Balls podcast. That was fun.
She's the best.
I had to call her out, though. Come
But
on.
yeah,
you can't
you
be
have
a
to,
long-suffering Yankees fan.
So funny.
They have more rings than anyone, right? There's no team in professional sports that has more championships than the New York Yankees.
Correct.
Yes, only a handful of them have come this century. So, boo-hoo.
Yep.
Boo-hoo.
I mean, I get it. Like, you know, your wife makes love to you every day, and then one day it stops. You know, who's got it worse, you or the virgin?
You don't know what you're missing.
Doesn't have any idea what he's
We
missing.
don't know what we're missing.
Yeah, you don't know what you're missing. And trust me, if you get one, we always say that BS line of, I just want one. I just want one. You don't want just one. You want 15.
No, but I need at least one.
You need one, but you're going to want, people will lose their minds if the Padres win a World Series and don't repeat. It's just the nature of the.
I have no love for the Yankees, but I will acknowledge that having a competitive, good Yankees team that's playing in October is good for the sport generally. To have them be relevant and be competing for championships. Well, it doesn't have to be every year, but
you know what's interesting though is they're not feared at all like they were when I was a kid. And I mean, not even in the slightest. Like there's no mystique anymore about the Yankees. There's mystique around a bunch of other teams. The Astros, frankly, like they have more mystique than the Yankees these days. I mean, the Dodgers don't win in October, so they have no mystique either right now. The Braves have a little bit of mystique. There's some teams you look at and go, I would much rather play them. When back in the day, they used to talk about the ghost of Yankee Stadium. It felt like a real thing. I mean, it really, people would go in there and forget how to play the game of baseball in October sometimes. It was crazy.
It's interesting because Mystique hasn't won a single ball game for anyone. You got to go out between the lines, and you got to execute. You got to perform.
You don't want to hear this story, Benny, but they've done the documentary on the '98 team, and they talked about how they saw the Padres out looking at Monument Park and kind of taking it all in at Yankee Stadium, and they just looked at each other and go, "We got him. Like I think it does help you win baseball games if you're a team that's feared, but that's gone. That is long. It's been gone for 20 years, by far. So. It's interesting to see what the AL East is going to do. Red Sox have done really nothing to improve their ball club at all.
I mean, mystique is only real if you let it be real.
Correct. Yeah.
The Yankees are just one of 30
They're one of 30
baseball
teams, 100%.
Yes, they never change their uniforms. They have a
don't
lot of
allow-
history.
They don't allow facial hair.
But they operate under the same rules
Still got to go out and win the games.
as every other team. They're just one of 30 baseball teams. There is actually nothing inherently special. There's no automatic path to success, and we've seen that now for a decade and a half. There's nothing. Mystique doesn't get you anything if you can't put a good team on the field.
I mean, we put a good team on the field last year, and we had no mystique, and we didn't win. So there you go. Neither does having the best players sometimes. It's a weird sport.
Very weird.
It's a very, very weird sport.
I hate it.
Yeah, I hate
But
it, and I
I
love
love
it
it.
more than anything. It's the true definition of love hate.
I think it's interesting the teams that you say have mystique. The Astros, the Braves.
They've got some mystique to them.
Or
I
they
think.
just have the best players.
Well, no, I mean, the Dodgers have the best players, and they have no mystique. None. Zero. Their best players can't even hit in October. The clock strikes October, and they don't hit.
You see, who was it, Dylan Hernandez writing about Mookie Betts?
I
and
sure did.
Not necessarily being fully invested all the time.
That was a weird article yesterday. I read, I just saw the blurb.
Teammates don't always think that
said
Mookie
he's not
is
checked in.
Checked in locked in for the whole season. Interesting that would come out right away, right at the start of spring training.
Does that lend some credibility to the East Coast, West Coast mentality? Because I mean, would that article have been written in Boston? Would Mookie have acted that way in Boston? Is he acting that way now? Are fans being over dramatic? Because
if people are saying it, it should be written. Because if teammates are saying that, it's true. If someone is it's their opinion.
What teammate is going to tell Dylan
then
Hernandez,
it's kind of a
Mookie,
hatchet
he's
job.
checked
But
out?
He said, people inside the clubhouse don't necessarily feel like Mookie Betts was always, locked in for the entire season. Certainly wasn't in the postseason.
Hey, man, listen, the more cracks in that armor that we can get, the better. But you also don't want Mookie motivated now, trying to be locked in the entire season. Take some plays off, Mookie. It'll be fine. You're good. Do your podcast, go bowling, do all the things you like to do. It is strange. I did see that yesterday. It surprised the hell out of me to see that article yesterday. I mean, is it just because he didn't?
I mean, it's not the LA Times' job to hype up the baseball team and write just glowing stuff about them, but my guess is they'd sell plenty of papers if they were hyping up the baseball team and getting people excited. So for that to come out was kind of pretty telling and interesting, I thought.
I need to go read the entire thing. I think it's behind a paywall. I don't know if we have LA Times, but I'd like to read that entire piece by Dylan Hernandez. All I saw was the clips that were kind of tweeted out, and it was interesting.
All right, we've got 1 hour to go. In studio, we're going to have Stephanie Daly joining us for our last couple of segments. Before that, though, Reindl Report, including a trade offer for LeBron James that they said was made at the deadline. This is kind of surprising to basketball fans. We'll get to all of that coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Today isn't just Valentine's Day, Woods. It's also National Ferris Wheel Day and National Football Hangover Day, which is weird. You feel like Monday should have been National Football Hangover Day.
Yeah.
Like they couldn't squeeze it in. They had to wait until Wednesday for that. But
That's what the calendar said.
happy National Football Hangover Day to everybody. It's not National Skincare Day, but I will once again remind everybody, see your dermatologist, get checked. I went for my biannual appointment. Is that twice a year or is that every other year? I think that's twice a
I
year,
never
right?
know.
I don't either.
Biannual. I go every 6 months.
Okay.
So, like a dentist. I go to the dermatologist. She did slice one more mole. She always takes at least one off. Just because she says it looks a little, might be growing a little bit, and they send it to get biopsied, so then I have to wait.
She makes a necklace out of all your moles.
A few days and find out. Hopefully not cancerous or anything, but you have that stress of waiting for the phone call.
So you had to go and you strip down.
Correct.
Nude.
Well, I mean, you get that
that paper thing backwards.
that, have the opening in the back.
And were you nude?
I left my underwear on.
Okay. Did she get in there?
Yeah, she did check everywhere though. Just
How was that?
I have moles everywhere, so
How was that?
fine. Cold.
Always cold.
But don't be embarrassed. Don't let embarrassment stop you from making sure that your skin health is protected.
Attractive.
Dr. Starling?
Yeah.
She's not bad looking.
Oh, good.
That's not really relevant, though. She's just a good doctor. That's what's important in this situation.
All right. Congratulations.
Well, you can congratulate me after it comes back, hopefully benign.
That's true.
When I get my report back in a few days. That's what we're going for here.
That's right.
So get your skin checked and get your Reindl Report from Paulie Reindl.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a oh yeah? Oh yeah.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Good
Wonder
morning,
how
gentlemen.
the carving guy is doing today. Hope he has a Valentine.
Yeah.
Slicing up beef or ham for her at home.
How old do you think he is now?
It's a good question, dude.
Was he about 23,
He looked like he was in his
24?
20s.
Yeah,
in
call
that
it
video.
22.
But that video had to be from what, early 90s, late 80s,
Yeah.
maybe?
He's probably...
He's like our age,
Might
maybe.
be in 50s now.
Yeah, maybe
even
early
older than
50s.
us, Yeah.
I mean, the guy, I don't even think he knows. Does he know how big of a
Did you catch
celebrity?
the game last night?
He's everywhere. I get tagged in it 50 times a week. It just never stops on the internet. I just hope he's having a nice Valentine's Day. I hope he has somebody that he can. She's like, oh, good. Let me guess what's for Valentine's Day. Prime rib again. Slice
I wonder
me
if
up.
he actually worked there, if he was just an actor who was hired for the video.
I never saw him in anything else. I would have put him in a feature film. He was fantastic. Go ahead, Paul.
Sorry, I am just finalizing something. We got
Okay.
something really special planned. We're going to go quickly here on the Reindl Report.
Okay.
5 or 6 minutes from now, we got something planned for you guys. We'll start off in the NBA. Benny, you teased it. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski and Ramona Shelburne worked on a story here that the trade deadline was, last week or 2 weeks ago in the NBA? And there was about a 24-hour period where the Golden State Warriors were trying very hard to pursue a trade with the Lakers for LeBron James, teaming him up with Steph Curry, who those guys had some of the greatest battles over the 3 or 4 year span there, going head to head in the finals every single year, and both still playing at a very high level. LeBron older than Steph, but not by a whole lot. I mean, Steph's getting up there now. LeBron at 39 is still playing at a elite level, and the Warriors tried to make that happen, but LeBron and the Lakers both shut it down and said, no, we're good.
So that was actually the second team that called about LeBron. Did you see this? The first team that called was the Philadelphia 76ers. Oh. And Rob Pelinka was so incensed that they would even ask that he responded to Daryl Morey, the president of basketball operations for the 76ers, when he said, "Hey, any interest in trading LeBron?" He goes, "Is Embiid available?"
Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, straight up.
No, guess there's no deal to be made.
How
there.
are the Warriors and Lakers doing?
Pretty poorly. They're both. The Warriors are out of playoff position. I think they're 11th in the Western Conference. The Lakers are 9th, so they'd be in the play-in tournament if they went to the playoffs right now. Lakers have been playing a little better lately. They won again last night against the Pistons. 2 straight games where I think every starter scored at least 20 2 games ago, and they all scored 15.
I wound him up. I'm sorry.
Last game.
I'm sorry about that.
What you did.
I got him going.
It's almost the All-Star break. Last games here before the All-Star break, and then
that this weekend?
All-Star game this weekend.
Good.
Yeah, Steph Curry gonna go up against
Sabrina
Ionescu in the 3-point shootout. They're both excited about that. And, dunk contest, the game is.
Got the LED court there in Indianapolis.
Yeah, I think they're going to have that going
cool.
all weekend for the NBA All-Star festivities, for the skills challenge, the dunk contest. I'm sure it's going to look really cool. All right, elsewhere, we got a congratulations to give out to our friends, some friends of the program. If you were with us at all last year during baseball season, you know that every week we spoke with our friends Jake Mintz and Jordan Schusterman from the Cespedes Family Barbecue podcast. And they both have they have their podcast together, and then they both do some side gigs. Like Jake was covering the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. We remember.
Fox Sports, foxsports.com. And they just made an announcement. And I was talking to them recently, and they definitely said they have something coming down the pipeline, but they clearly didn't want to say what it was. Yep. And just about an hour ago, they said that BBQ News, we are thrilled to announce Yahoo Sports as our new home for all of our MLB coverage, which is written, video, and yes, even the podcasts allow us to reintroduce ourselves and a nice video there. So a big congratulations to them. And, excuse me. And we are already working on bringing them back to the crew, back to the family for the 2024 season.
Some of that sweet Yahoo money.
I feel like everybody is, parlay. What are we doing? Have you not? You make some calls or something? Do something. Amazon's got money to spend, and Apple, and
Amazon Prime,
Yahoo, and
Ben and Woods on Amazon Prime.
Fine, whatever.
They'd probably just have us delivering packages,
which is also fine. Get out and get some fresh air. We both need it. Is that it, Paulie?
I got one final story here. We will, or maybe we just hold it. I know you got a lot of thoughts on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductions, I believe, right?
One of Benny's absolute favorites up for Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I could make a case.
We'll save that for tomorrow.
For that band. Yeah, it's evergreen.
We got Stephanie Daly coming by the studio here shortly. But first, we got a message to the Ben and Woods Instagram account sometime last week, I believe, from a girl named Katie. And Woods, why don't you take this here? Because Katie's calling in right now.
She is. Okay, so we got a message from Katie. And I won't go into a lot of specifics on it, just that Katie is very appreciative of her, is it boyfriend or husband?
I don't know.
It's significant other is what we will say. And he is a huge Tier 1. He lives in Boston. They live there together. And he listens to Ben and Woods a lot, helps keep him kind of, connected to San Diego. Huge Padres fan as well. Is Katie on the line? Yes. All right. Katie, in honor of Valentine's Day, you had asked if you could call and deliver a message to your significant other. And if you want to tell a little bit of your story, this is your forum.
Hi, Ben and Woods. Thank you so much for having me.
It's our pleasure.
Hi, Katie.
I'm actually here with Max, my boyfriend, next to me. And I just wanted to thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to do this. He loves your show, and I know listening to you guys means a lot to him. And I just wanted to give him the message on Valentine's Day of how much I love him and how much I'm proud of him for everything he does for his family and for me. And he's just an incredibly strong human being. He's been taking care of his mom, who had stage 4 cancer. She passed away last week, and I'm just incredibly proud of the strength he's shown and how giving he is as a human being. And I just love him so very much. And I wanted to do something for him to show him how much he's loved and cared for. And he's always doing things for everybody else, never asking for anything in return. And so I just wanted to do this for him.
Is he there with you right now?
He's here with me right now. Yes, he is.
Can we say hello to Max?
Yeah, he's right here.
Hi guys,
Max.
thanks for providing a spark of joy back in cold Boston every morning for me. I appreciate it. You guys are great.
Good morning,
Thank
my
you, Max.
friend.
What's up, Max?
And we got this message from Katie last week. We said absolutely. Like, when I was a kid growing up listening to the Casey Kasem long distance shout outs, I'm like, yeah, I would do a whole show of these. I'm so sorry to hear about the loss of your mother. Katie had written me a long message about all these selfless things you do. And man, it's such a trip for us, I think, number one, and also a pleasure to know that we keep you connected to San Diego. I had a show like that for many years back in Dallas, and just wanted you to know, man, our hearts are with you, and we really appreciate you listening, and best of luck to both of you guys.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Happy Valentine's Day to you both.
Both of you.
And take good care of each other. And very, very, it's our pleasure to make your acquaintance today, and happy Valentine's Day.
Thanks, you guys as well.
Take care,
Max,
bye.
you guys reach out if you're ever back in San Diego. Okay?
Yeah,
reach
100%.
out.
Reach out.
We'll
Come
make
on by the
something happen.
studio. Make something happen.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. This means a lot.
Our pleasure, guys. Go get you some Dunkin', right? Dunkin' Donuts, Boston.
Sounds like a very sweet couple.
We will.
All right. Take good care.
I had some Padres news that just came in.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I wouldn't say this is the full TV information everybody's been clamoring for, but we definitely get some information. Padres today announced their broadcast schedule for 2024 spring training games.
Okay.
Padres.tv, the rebranded direct-to-consumer streaming option for all home and away Padres games, excluding national TV exclusives, will be available for free for all spring training Padres.tv broadcasts and only $19.99 a month, $99.99 for the full regular season. For information on Padres.tv, go to Padres.com/tune-in. Padres fans will be able to enjoy 25 games this spring on various electronic media, including here on 97.3 The Fan with Jesse Agler and Tony Gwynn Jr. And they also announced their TV broadcast people, which, of course, has Don Orsillo and Mark Grant returning to the booth for play-by-play and color commentary. Bob Scanlon will once again provide analysis and reports as part of the broadcast team. And joining the Padres TV network in 2024 as a sideline reporter and host is Mary Lou. Cook brings diverse experience as a sports broadcaster, most recently as a sports anchor for KSL 5 TV. That's the NBC affiliate in Salt Lake City, and sideline reporter for KSL Sports Game Night Live. She's also served as host for the NBA's Utah Jazz, ECHL's Utah Grizzlies, and was the broadcast and digital media director for the Big Sky Conference. Lifelong baseball fan, Cook covered collegiate baseball at Florida Atlantic University. So we have a new member of the Padres TV broadcast team, Mary Lou's Cook.
We should interview her sooner than later. I'd love to get to know her.
Absolutely. New member of the family coming in. So, and obviously you'll be able to buy Padres games streaming for $19.99 a month or $99.99, $100 for the season, and you will be able to get Padres games that way. Still nothing about what channels they might be on if you wanted to get the traditional cable or satellite options, though. Have not heard any news on that yet.
This is nudging me, Ben. I'm being nudged.
Nudged toward cord cutting?
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Every year we do this.
But that's news that
No.
just came in from the Padres.
Adam just sent us an email. He says, I clicked on the link below that was attached with the Padres press release, and it does have details for the 2024 season. No blackouts. Stream Padres games in the San Diego area with no blackouts. So MLB TV, all teams plus Padres TV is $199 a year. Or there's Padres TV. Stream Padres games in the San Diego area with no blackouts. For full details, click here for $99.99 a year.
Which is basically what they did last
Yeah,
season. After Bally's went away, you could get it for $19.99 a month, and you can get all home and away games streamed without blackouts.
Explain it to me off the air. Just tell me what I need to do.
That's
Do I need to sign up?
Well, you
may or
pay
you
for
may
cable.
not.
I do.
So you don't have to.
I'll probably
Probably
do it anyway.
All right, we have Stephanie Daly going to come with some.
She's going to be here in about 10 minutes.
All right, Valentine's Day, some tips and some
relationship
questions,
talk.
relationship talk and questions. Something a little different for us on a Valentine's Day. We'll get to all of that coming up. Let's take a check of traffic. We'll be right back with more Bennett Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour of Ben and Woods is brought to you by The Farmer's Dog. Stephanie Daly is arriving shortly and will be joining us. If you aren't aware of her content, she's got a ton of followers. She puts out great, just kind of relationship questions and what people think. Get the real scoop about the birds and the bees. Woods.
I don't know that it's about the birds and the bees, to be honest with you.
Not the birds and the bees.
Let's stay away from the birds and the bees, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Get her, and Ben's like, so tell me about. I mean,
Let's
where
start with the birds.
Let's start with the birds,
and we'll move on to the bees.
Her story's pretty fascinating. I'll let her tell it when she gets here. But I love her content, man. She really knocks it out of the park. And, she's going to be coming in, hanging out with us the last segment of the day. Well, listen, we don't need any advice. Relationship experts as we are, certainly. But
what's the worst date you ever went on?
I've never been on a bad date.
Really?
Man.
Never been on a bad date?
Never. I've never been on I've always had a good time. Every single date I think I've never embarrassed. I always embarrass myself, but I think it was like kind of endearing to them. I mean, when I first met my wife, when I had her in, she came in the studio for an interview. I couldn't get the mic to work. I was like a bumbling buffoon. And we actually had to like share a mic because I didn't know what I was doing in there. And she told me later it was endearing. And I felt I was pouring sweat like an idiot. And I've never had
randomly sweaty men are very attractive and endearing.
I had a New York Times t-shirt on. That I got at Banana Republic.
All the
news that's fit to print, I guess. She's like, what are you doing? But, I got her. But I've never had a bad date, man. I really haven't. I had never asked out anyone I thought I was going to have a bad date with.
Yeah, to a certain extent, though. It's out of your control. Maybe.
Well, I mean, even if the waiter, like, spills food in your lap, like, that's still funny as hell. It's a great story. There's never been an issue of like, who's paying for this? Like, I'll just pay. I pay, and we go. And we have a good time. Sometimes you get a kiss at the end of the night. Sometimes you don't.
There's this girl in college that I asked out and went to a movie. And
you in the movies?
I know. Well, it's just there wasn't a lot to do around where I was at school.
They have restaurants? No.
Yeah, kind of, but it was
kind of.
It's a little college town. It wasn't filled with restaurants.
When you go to a movie on a first date. You just sit.
Well, we already kind of knew each other because we were in class together.
Right.
So
how did you ask her out? Do you remember?
I don't specifically remember how.
Do anything,
but
have audio.
She was not interested in a second date after that. So I guess
what movie did you take her to?
I don't remember.
The Revenant.
I don't remember that one.
Hey, let's go watch Schindler's List. It's really, really good. So that was just. I had dates where I didn't go on a second date with them, but I never had.
Isn't that the definition then of kind of a bad date?
No, sometimes I just think it's like I don't know.
If you had a great date,
maybe.
If you both had a great date, why wouldn't you go on another one?
Because something better.
Well, just the man of opportunity over there.
Apparently, I mean, I don't know. I've never had like a really bad date. I've never had somebody be like, "Hey, this isn't." Yeah, I don't know. I just, used to love going on dates though. Loved it. Like I thought it was. I did the flowers bit, the whole bit.
Really?
Oh, the whole thing.
Kind of corny. No?
Very corny. Very like I'm talking high school. Always taking the same place, downtown Dallas, which was about a 30-minute drive, and go down to the spaghetti warehouse.
Is that related to the spaghetti factory?
I don't think so. Same type of vibe, dude. Same type of vibe.
The spaghetti warehouse.
Spaghetti warehouse. And listen, because you go in our town, you're like, oh, do you want Chili's? Do you want On the Border? Do you want Bennigan's? So where are we going?
No, we're going fancy. We're going to the spaghetti warehouse.
Yeah, downtown Dallas. So it was like fancy for me. I mean, I was 17 years old. But I always did flowers. Always brought flowers to the door, the whole thing. No, you didn't do that. You just took them to movies.
Mostly, yeah. Some dinner. I like dinner, too.
Yeah?
That one was a movie date. And
Jake said
no date after that.
Jake said, I had a bad date. She wanted to go hiking. She broke her ankle. This was pre-cell phone days. I had to carry her as much as possible. I wasn't strong. And then drive her to the hospital. That's terrible. That's one of the worst dates.
It feels like that could form a relationship much faster, though, than just a regular hike.
It could. I mean, you're kind of, if he's like a weakling, though, trying to carry her down. She's got a broken ankle. I don't think she's feeling.
It's an opportunity to show off if you can.
If you can do it. Megan says, I imagine meat hanging from hooks in a spaghetti warehouse. No, it was like spaghetti. It was like romantic Italian.
Why would you call it the spaghetti warehouse if you're going for romantic Italian?
Yeah, the spaghetti warehouse. I'm 99% sure it was the spaghetti warehouse.
Who came up with this name?
I don't know. What's the spaghetti factory?
It's a terrible name.
Factory of spaghetti.
It really is not. It was not that great of a restaurant either.
Dan says, anticipating the first date is a great feeling. Bro, you are not kidding. That's we spent our whole lives chasing that rush.
I'm going to throw this up on the YouTube.
But yeah, that is that's there was never had any real bad ones though. Always fun. Always liked to date. Matt says my wife skipped dinner before our first date. She drank enough that she threw up 3 times. I had to get her address from her car registration to drive her and her car
Paulie's
home.
found the spaghetti warehouse on the chat.
That's the one right there. Oh my God!
Looks like the Sholey Brothers Candy Factory out at Petco Park in center field.
That is it, man. Look at that.
Yeah, it looks sexy.
Oh, the memories come rushing back. Yeah, nice brick building full of spaghetti.
What did you generally order? Spaghetti?
Yeah, spaghetti. Which is not the best
date food.
Twirling it up, sucking down meatballs, and holy cow, man.
Brett says that looks like a front from a mob movie.
Oh man, that is so. It was really good. No, it was not. There was nothing scary about it. It was fantastic.
All right, let's take a timeout. We'll come back, and I think Stephanie's here, so we're gonna return with Stephanie Daly when we come back here with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Don't go away. The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Wrapping up our Valentine's morning commute with a few problems here, guys. Crash the clearing stage northbound at 5 near Main and Division. Also northbound side of the 805 before University. Crash over to the right shoulder. Still this accident on westbound 54 right before Woodman. Everything in the center divide. Motorcycle involved in that. Also westbound King Freeway right before the 15. There is a stalled vehicle in the center divide. And 2 vehicles got into it on the Johnson Avenue on-ramp to westbound 8. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Thank you, Kelly Danick. Happy Valentine's Day to all the lovers out there. Very excited about this segment. Been wanting to get Stephanie on with us for a while. Stephanie Daly joins us on the Ben & Woods program. Welcome. It's great to have you here. It's our pleasure. Get like a karate chop away. Perfect.
Okay, like this?
Yep, that's perfect.
Okay.
So I have been following your content for a while. I saw it. We have a mutual friend. I reached out and said, we want to get you on for Valentine's Day. We got married couples in the audience. We've got single ladies, single men, people looking for love. Honestly, what I loved, though, was you made it a point. You said, look, I'm not a relationship expert. I'm far from it. How did you get into doing this? You started, I call you kind of like an amateur sociologist.
Yeah.
and just kind of collecting information. So we wanted to have you in. We got questions pouring in. People wanted to ask you about relationships and whatnot. But tell everybody a little bit about your backstory.
Okay. So I wouldn't have admitted it before, but about 4 years ago, I went through a massive heartbreak that just, turned my world inside out, flipped it upside down. And I started sharing a little bit of myself more so with my audience. And I didn't have a big audience. I had like 1,000 followers that consisted of like my high school, my college friends.
Sure.
And I just really had nothing to lose. And so I think I posted something about like fitness, and it was a before and after picture. And everybody was like, oh my God, you look so good. But I wanted them to really focus on like the internal aspect of it.
Right.
And so my next post was about how relationships affect our physical health. Like when I go through a breakup or something stressful, I just can't eat. So that's obviously going to affect my physical appearance. And one of my guy friends was in a relationship where it was so stressful that he developed stomach ulcers. So I really wanted to explain the quality of our relationships really affect us in general.
Sure.
And that one took off. And then people started asking me all these questions about relationships, and I never wanted to claim to be the expert, like I said.
Yeah, you were like, you said, do not call me an expert.
Exactly, because I was searching for my own answers at the time.
Well, I love that you want to find truth, and by seeking out truth, the way that you did it was asking questions.
Right.
And so I think it's even surprised you. We talked on the phone for about 20 minutes once, and has it surprised you how many people out there are truly just confounded by love and relation? It is.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
People are thirsty for this information, but they also don't want to talk about it. It's like super taboo to talk about any of these topics.
Yeah.
So I kind of, am always asking the questions that people are too afraid to ask.
And also being able to do it in a forum where it's private.
Right.
And you don't share who, like Jim asked me why,
Never.
no. And so you've taken this information, you kind of collate this information. I wanted to ask you though, has it helped you or has it hindered you in your search for love?
I would say that it's helped me because it's made me very, very clear on what I want.
Sure.
And it has filtered out a lot of people, and it makes it easier in that sense. But it also makes me need somebody who's extremely confident.
Right.
Because they think that I know everything, but I don't. I'm just as curious as everybody else,
You've been on a journey, though. So what's the most surprising place that this journey, this last few years, has taken you? Like what you've learned that may even surprise you.
So sometimes I do this series that are anonymous confessions, and some of those confessions are insane. Like I think it should be a whole separate segment where we go through those confessions.
I'm fine with that.
Because they are wild. But I've just been surprised at the amount of men who want to share these things with me, what they're going through. And I don't know if it's just because they can't share amongst themselves or if they just don't have those people in their life. But I've always found it that men are far more generous with sharing their stories, their insight, and their experience, which I really appreciate.
Joined by our friend Stephanie Daly here on Ben & Woods this morning. And yeah, I think being vulnerable is hard for a lot of men to do. I'm married, and I find even it's hard to be vulnerable at home. Sometimes your wife's like, look, man, I got stuff going on too. you can't be. Can a man be too vulnerable for you or for women out there? If you're into that date, into dating right now, can you be too vulnerable?
That's a really good question. I don't think there's such thing as being too vulnerable, but I think there is a fine line with maybe being like a little too needy.
Yes.
Right?
Women hate needy.
It's repelling.
It is.
It's repelling. It really is, because we don't want. The thing is, we don't want to be needed. We want to be wanted in a way. So yeah, it is repelling.
It's repelling. It's fantastic.
I've found, this is not going to shock you, but I have trouble with like emotional conversations.
Yes.
Like opening up and really like even talking to my wife about a difficult subject. I'd rather just plow through it and just ignore it and kind of hope it goes away. Do you find that guys are like that often? Or not as much anymore? Maybe I'm old school.
I think it's really circumstantial.
Yeah.
I've kind of experienced all sorts of dynamics. But I do find, and maybe it's just the age where I'm at, I do find that a lot more people are wanting to invest in their personal growth and the ability to connect with each other. So I see a lot more people going to therapy, which I personally love.
Yeah, we're all big proponents of it here on this program. We talk about it a lot, and it's hard though, because once you unleash, turn the faucet on, sometimes it's hard to turn it off, and that's when you get into, I think, the neediness sometimes of like, and it's hard when you're dating. When I met my wife, that's all I wanted to do was like, I wanted to need her, but I also was like, I'm going to repel her.
Right.
So I just had created like a aloof but available.
Right.
So if she wrote me, I didn't play games. I wrote her right back, but I didn't ever reach out first.
Spam her.
Yeah, I didn't
like
know.
That.
I just was like, I'm here. But I never like made her wait and play games.
So you were consistent.
Consistent.
That's a huge thing for girls.
For sure.
Huge.
So I can't even imagine what it's like out there now with online dating. I never did online dating in my life. Never had an app or anything like that. Yeah, right. Like, you say lucky.
It's a blessing and a curse.
But I also think like, man, this really limits like half of.
Yeah.
I mean, online dating does work though. There were some studies that showed that like 33% of couples have met online. That's massive.
That's a huge.
Well, I think it makes sense.
Number.
I mean, let's be honest. You're in high school. You're trying to find a girlfriend. There's maybe like 7 real like people you probably can choose from that would be compatible with you. Yeah, online there's going to be hundreds. You're going to have much greater chance of success.
Tens of thousands.
Yeah. Tens of thousands. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's hard to kind of weed through it. I would imagine
it
took
is.
for me. And that's why I always laugh at the younger kids. I'm like, man, I had to walk up to a girl in a bar and be like, hey, how you doing? It's the most nerve-wracking thing.
Yeah.
But I'm happy that I got to do that because it builds character a little bit.
Yeah. And I don't think a lot of women know the level of rejection that men face. So if there are girls listening, I would love to encourage you to initiate first or, go up to a guy that you find attractive. I mean, because guys love that.
There's literally nothing better on the planet. There's nothing better on the planet than a woman making the first move. Nothing. There's nothing better.
Do some
on the
women
planet.
feel like that's unappealing? Like they don't want to do that? They'll feel like they're too aggressive or too forward if they do that?
There's all types of women who are like, oh, that's the man's move. That's, I don't want to be in my masculine or whatever. But it's like, I know how nice it feels to be approached. I can only imagine that men feel the exact same way.
Talking to our friend Stephanie Daly here, relationship blogger, and we got some questions in last night on the Instagram. It said, "What's the number one quality, in your opinion, and through your research, that women look for in a man these days?"
I actually did do a mini study, and I guess I would call it like a characteristic or a trait. And the majority of women said that they seek security and safety first and foremost in a man.
Yeah, I think responsibility is a sexy quality in another human being. Like you must.
Then I am super sexy.
You're literally the sexiest man alive. He's the most responsible human on the planet. The out of control bad boy works for a while when in your mid 20s, and then you hit.
I've always felt like it's worked against me that I'm too.
There we go.
Too
straight laced, too responsible,
Nice
not
guys
fun.
finish
not
last.
Nice
fun
guys
enough.
finish last.
Yeah, it's the bad boys who always seem to attract the women.
That's what people get wrong about nice guys. I just think that there's certain qualities in these nice guys that are repelling. Like the nice guys who do finish last have qualities that are a little less masculine than most.
Sure.
They typically are a little more needy, a little more people pleasing, and they don't have boundaries. They don't have strong boundaries. So that's less masculine traits.
I love that.
Right.
I love that. What is your
Well, I don't
repellent
think
quality?
I'm needy, but I am people pleasing. So
Definitely.
maybe I'm too people pleasing.
Yeah, you stand up for yourself, right?
Exactly.
Like, all
I
right.
don't really stand up for myself much.
Eric in the chat says, I'm over 30. I listen to and watch sports about 90% of the time. Is there anything I can do to make my situation a little more attractive to a lady? Could you please ask the love doctor for me? Thanks. And I think what he's trying to say is...
His name's Brian?
His name's Eric.
Eric.
And I think what he's trying to say is this is his lane. Like, this is his lane. What I've found for me, at least, and people think I'm nuts. Like, my wife and I have a different relationship. We don't share finances because we know we would fight about it. She doesn't like... I go to concerts by myself. She goes to do things by herself. We've become okay with having separate interests. And instead of being like, well, we're going together, we don't always have to be together. I think what Eric's trying to say is like, how do I maybe find somebody that's like-minded or will let me kind of do the things I love to do?
Well, I want to know what he's doing with the rest of the 10% of the time.
Right.
Right? Because he said, how can he be more attractive to women? I wonder if he's just using all of his time on that. I know that there's going to be women who are going to respect his passions and his ambitions. That is one of the most sexiest things, is when somebody has a passion that they can throw themselves into. So I don't think that's going to be an issue, but it's going to be an issue if it's consuming all of his time to where he can't invest in potentially finding a partner or investing in himself to make himself more attractive by going to the gym or something like that.
Sure, it's hard.
So, circumstantial. If you want, DM me on Instagram. We can chat more about it.
Yeah, you can find your stuff at Stephanie Daly is your Instagram
Also,
feed.
my golf. Steph swings.
Yes, so you just got into golf.
I'm hooked.
Oh, we
all
can
right.
talk golf
So
all
here's the
day
thing.
long. There we go.
So
There's
you
a
know,
topic
I
for
was
me.
thinking about you, and I go, man, she's like, remember the movie Something About Mary? She's like the quote unquote perfect woman. Like she goes to the driving range, she loves sports, she loves to do all this stuff. I'm like, this is you're really going for that.
I haven't seen that movie.
Have you not seen that movie?
I
Oh my
haven't.
God. Watch it tonight.
Okay.
Something About Mary. It's hysterical.
Okay.
They're all after this one girl because she does all the things that most men love to do. She's like, I want a guy that can take me to a ball game and drink beer and then play golf. And every guy in the world's like, well, where do I sign up? How did you get the golf bug?
My brother. He for years he invited me out to the range, and I was like, what am I going to do at the range? And then I finally caved one day. It was one good hit. I sound like an addict, but that's literally all it took.
That's it.
And I was
Woods
hooked.
knows.
Yeah, I know.
Just
Yeah.
that one
Same thing
keeps you coming
Yeah,
back.
that's
One good
exactly
hit
what it is.
keeps
So,
you coming back.
And I'm absolutely hooked.
It is. It's a good activity. There's a lot of now golf bros are a thing. They're definitely a thing. I'm sure you've seen them. Yeah, I mean, you may be one
I'm
yourself.
starting to.
You're starting to
I'm
see
starting
them.
to.
All right. So, personal question: are you dating anyone now?
I have plans tonight. I like to keep my personal life very private.
I get it. Me too.
So,
Ben too.
but I can tell you that I do have some plans tonight.
Good. Well, that's excellent news. I think it was really funny how we met too. We have a mutual friend, and I asked my buddy Walshy, I said, can you have her contact me? I want to have her on for this, and I'd love to have her on anytime this stuff comes up. And he said, yeah, sure. So I called, and she was a little bit, I would say, hesitant because she didn't know me from Adam, didn't know our show. And so we did like a phone conversation. It was almost like pitching our show to her. And I was like, oh no, like Ben's super straight laced. I'm a married dad with kids. The topics don't really get too risque on our program. So she's like, all right, sounds good. She follows us. The very next day was your diatribe on S&M. The very next day.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. And I
the
think your thumbnails, those were great.
Which ones?
I'm not going to do them again.
Which thumbnails?
Oh, the next video where you guys were talking about popsicles and
that's
eat
right.
your popsicles.
And I showed how to eat a popsicle, push pops and whatnot. No, I mean the very next day, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's gonna think we are deviants.
I mean, not at all. It's not out of my wheelhouse. People ask crazy questions all the time, and that's actually how my blog took off, is when I started putting those types of topics in video format, it took off.
Those are hot topics, and that's
Yeah.
what I think. If you have a girlfriend or significant other, it's important to know, like, well, what do women actually want? What don't they want?
And
Those are
people don't
really
ask
important.
that,
They
though. That's
don't.
when I was really digging into that juicy data, I realized that people just weren't talking to their partners about what they like
Sure.
in general,
Right.
which I found astonishing.
It is. It truly is.
What would be your reaction if a date took you to a place called the Spaghetti Warehouse?
You'd be all in on
Is that good?
Because
or
he brought
bad?
you flowers. And
I wouldn't mind it.
has
I really
a guy
wouldn't mind
ever
it.
taken you to a really? Have you ever I think you've said before. I watched one of your deals. I think you've said you've never really had a bad date either.
No, I haven't. The only thing that was super uncomfortable once is where like a guy wanted me to come home with him and I didn't want to, and he got like aggressive about it,
Yeah,
and
that's
like that
terrible.
made me uncomfortable. But I've never had like a really crappy date or like insane date. Has anybody taken me anywhere?
Like
Kind of
subpar
McDonald's.
No, I mean maybe like an ice cream shop, but like I like to go the more casual route on a first date.
Sure.
I find that it's like way more comfortable, less pressure. I personally prefer to do like a beach sunset picnic or something like that, and then just do like
God,
takeout
that feels
sushi.
like a lot of pressure, though.
Really?
A beach sunset
What?
picnic
I
sounds.
think it's really. I think it's perfect. You get to know each other. It's I don't know. It's just lower pressure, in my opinion.
It's interesting because I do therapy, and I talk about my wife in there, and she knows that, and it's better than vomiting on her at home, certainly, and
Or on here.
which she really doesn't like. But the communication part of a relationship, and I'm a professional communicator, and I'm not great at it. I'm not great at all at going home and being like, "Hey, I really didn't like this. Could we do it better this way?" I'm more of a, pitch a fit type, and she is too, and so that's the tough part. When you talk about all of the work that you've done, do you find that communication in a relationship is probably the most important thing?
Yeah, and I also think it's like when you're arguing, it's the coming back together. Like I've just found that there's a lot of, I would call them like nuggets where we're actually reaching out for some level of comfort or affection, some sort of need, but we're not directly saying, hey, I need this in this moment right now. And it would be way easier if we did. But I just don't think people I don't think people tell people how they want to be loved and vice versa.
That's super important.
Yeah.
Super important. Yeah.
Right.
I do a lot of the am I supposed to read your mind?
Right.
Right? And she's like, "Yeah, you are actually. You're supposed to read my mind." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"All right, well,
I'm sad because we're out of time.
I know.
The show is
She's so
this
good.
show is ending here, and we could go on. Maybe we make this a regular holiday thing. What
We
are you doing on
should.
St. Patrick's Day?
I'm down. I'm always feeling lucky.
Stephanie,
You were
we
incredible.
Really appreciate it. Yeah.
Give her a follow on
It's DAILY, right?
DAILY.
Some have the I, some don't have the I, but you have the I.
Yes.
Well, I
PH, Stephanie PH.
I hope this guy's got his picnic basket packed and a nice blanket for the sunset on Valentine's Day.
We're painting.
You're painting? God, I would embarrass myself.
Painting.
My wife and I just went and did pottery for a pottery class
How was
for a
it?
date night. It was
What did you
great.
guys
I
paint?
had no idea what I was doing.
okay.
Ashtray.
It
I
is
made a cup that doesn't look like a cup.
It's a brave new world out there, and I'm glad I don't have to go painting because I would not be very good at it. But you were great, Stephanie. Really enjoyed that. And give her a follow, Stephanie Daly on Instagram. Yeah, people can DM you questions
Absolutely.
and stuff. All right.
Absolutely.
Make sure you check out her blog. It's on there as well.
Awesome. All right, that's
Thanks,
it
guys.
for
Thank you
that's
so
it for our
much.
program today. We will be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. More Padres content, more Sammy Spring Training from Peoria, Arizona. Annie and Elston, Braden, they're standing by to come in just a second here. Get you ready for the next 4 hours. Then Gwen and Chris this afternoon from 2 to 6.
Hope you feel better, big guy.
Yeah, thank you very much. Just a little under the weather.
If
That's
you
why I'm
bail
staying
tomorrow,
away
I'm
from
bailing,
you.
just so you know.
So we may not be here
So we
tomorrow.
may
at
not
6
be here.
a.m.
You never
We'll
know.
see. I think I'm getting better.
Happy
I feel better.
Valentine's Day to all the lovers out there.
Well, have a great one out there with
Make
your
sweet
significant
love.
other.
Yes.
And we will talk to you tomorrow morning. For our executive producer, Paul Reindl, for Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Have a great rest of your Wednesday from all of us here at San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. So long.